Hare Krishna. I'll be taking over from Prabhu. Please forgive me if I misspell anything. And if there's anything good in it, all glories to my Guru Maharaj. If you find it difficult, I beg forgiveness. So here we are in Yuddha Kanda, right in the middle of the battle. And it's amazing the way it's going. Let's keep going. So here we are. Desiring to enter the fray, Lakshmana released 7 arrows that cut down Ravana's flag. With another arrow, Lakshmana severed the head of Ravana's driver. And with 5 more, he split the Rakshasa king's bow. Then Vibhishana also rushed forward and killed Ravana's horses with his mace, forcing his enraged brother to jump from the disabled chariot. When Ravana angrily hurled a lace at Vibhishana, Lakshmana cut it to pieces with 3 arrows as it soared through the air. Ravana then picked up a magical spear manufactured by Maya Danav. Seeing how Vibhishana's life was in danger, Lakshmana quickly hailed so many arrows upon Ravana that he became stunned while standing with his spear in hand. Ravana shouted to Lakshmana, "Because you have dared rescue Vibhishana, the spear that was meant for him will instead take your life." Ravana roared like a lion and hurled the magic spear. As it unerringly soared through the air towards Lakshmana, Rama requested the spear to become ineffectual. Nonetheless, the spear shot through Lakshmana's chest and struck into the ground, making the son of Sumitra fall down seriously wounded. When Rama saw Lakshmana's pitiful condition, he became extremely despondent, with tears filling his eyes. Then, suppressing his intense grief, Rama extracted the spear from Lakshmana's body, even as Ravana showered arrows upon him. Breaking the spear in half, Rama raised Lakshmana in his arms and tearfully embraced him. Then, after ordering Hanuman and Sugriva to guard Lakshmana, Rama angrily declared, "I shall now exhibit my full prowess against the wicked Ravana. I promise he will soon be slain on the battlefield. The monkeys may now go and sit at ease upon the mountain tops. Let them watch with the demigods as I perform a wonderful feat that will be glorified until the dissolution of the world." Rama attacked Ravana with a vengeance. As they proceeded to cover one another with torrents of arrows, their twanging bows produced an astonishing clamor. The infuriated Rama soon overwhelmed Ravana, causing the Rakshasa to flee the battlefield in fear. Rama then went to Lakshmana and with great anguish told Sushena, "Just by looking at my wounded brother, my strength immediately withers. Without Lakshmana, victory will have no meaning for me. If he dies, I shall follow him, just as he followed me when I was exiled to the forest." With a reassuring voice, Sushena replied, "O Rama, Lakshmana is not dying. His facial luster has not faded, and his eyes are still sparkling brightly. However, Hanuman must immediately be dispatched to the Mahodaya mountain to collect the herbs called Vishalyakarani, Savarnyakarani, Samjeevakarani, and Samdhani. By this medical treatment, Lakshmana can immediately be restored to perfect health." Hanuman again leaped to the Himalayas. However, arriving at Mahodaya mountain, he could not recognize the necessary herbs. In frustration, he again tore off the mountain peak, and while holding it in both hands, returned to Lanka. Placing the mountain peak near Sushena, Hanuman lay down for a moment to rest, saying, "I could not recognize which herbs to bring, so I decided to carry the entire mountain here." Sushena praised Hanuman and then went to look for the proper herbs. Thereafter he crushed the herbs into powder, and when Lakshmana was given them to smell, his wounds instantly became healed. As Lakshmana stood up, Rama embraced him firmly, saying, "It is my good fortune that you are well, O Lakshmana. Without you, there would be no use in recovering Sita or even maintaining my life any longer." Lakshmana replied, "My dear brother, please do not indulge in such grief any longer. Quickly make good your vow to kill Ravana and install Vibhishana as king of Lanka." Meanwhile, Ravana mounted another chariot and rushed out from the city, eager to fight with Rama. Rama took up his bow and released a downpour of arrows upon Ravana. However, from the sky, the demigods exclaimed, "This battle is not being fairly fought. Rama is standing on the ground while Ravana rides in a chariot." Taking this cue, Indra called to Matali and ordered him to take his chariot to Rama on the battlefield. Matali thus came before Rama, driving Indra's golden chariot, which was drawn by 1,000 greenish horses. The celestial charioteer then announced to Rama, "My dear Lord, King Indra requests you to kindly accept this chariot for fighting with Ravana. Inside you will find Indra's bow and armor, along with an incomparable spear and various celestial arrows. O Rama, please mount the chariot at once, for the demigods are most disturbed to see you, having to fight standing on the ground. After circumambulating Indra's chariot, Rama mounted it, and a thrilling duel ensued. When Ravana released a Gandharva weapon, Rama quickly neutralized it with another Gandharva weapon. Next, Ravana discharged a Rakshasa weapon that took the form of innumerable serpents with blazing wide mouths. In response, Rama released a Garuda weapon that transformed into countless golden eagles that quickly ate up all of Ravana's snake arrows. Thus enraged the Rakshasa king, who then rapidly discharged 1,000 arrows at Rama. He also shot numerous arrows that hit Matali, a single arrow that knocked down Indra's flag, and many more that afflicted the horses. Ravana was putting Rama in great difficulty, and the demigods and monkey warriors became quite anxious. Rama then assumed the most frightening, angry form, causing the entire earth with its mountains and oceans to quake. Many evil omens manifested, and all created beings, including Ravana, became afraid. Numerous demons suddenly appeared in the sky to cheer Ravana towards victory. As if in response, Ravana picked up a fearsome dart and roared so ferociously that the heaven and earth began to tremble. Then he shouted, "Rama, prepare yourself, for you shall now die." Ravana hurled the lethal dart. Soaring through the sky, it made a loud, roaring noise and was encircled by lightning. Rama released innumerable arrows to counteract Ravana's awesome weapon, just as Indra tries to stop the fire of devastation by pouring down torrential rains. When Rama saw all his arrows being consumed by the fearsome dart, he picked up the celebrated spear of Indra, and hurled it. Soaring through the air, Indra's spear illuminated all directions and then collided with Ravana's dart, shattering it to pieces that fell harmlessly to the ground. Rama then punctured Ravana's chest, forehead, and horses with arrows. Although Ravana was exhausted and blood was flowing from wounds all over his body, he continued to storm arrows upon Rama in great anger. Indeed, Ravana riddled Rama's chest with 1,000 arrows that covered him with blood. The constant hail of arrows was so dense that Rama and Ravana could no longer see each other clearly because of the darkness it produced. Still, Rama remained undaunted. Laughing disdainfully, he rebuked Ravana, saying, "You are the most abominable of the man-eaters. Indeed, you are like their stool. O kidnapper of Sita, you are a first-class fool for considering yourself a great hero. Actually, you are a great coward, for you dared to take my wife away after deceptively luring me far away. How could you be proud of overpowering a poorless, defenseless woman in the absence of her husband? You resemble a dog, for a dog steals eatables from the kitchen in the absence of the householder. In my absence, you kidnapped my wife Sita. Therefore, as Yamaraj punishes sinful men, I shall also punish you. You are most abominable, sinful, and shameless. Today, therefore, I, whose attempt never fails, shall punish you. O Ravana, today you will meet your deserved end. The body you are so attached to will become food for jackals and vultures." Thereafter, Rama began to fire his arrows with redoubled energy and greater dexterity. This assault was combined with volleys of stones hurled by the monkeys. Ravana became so dazed that he could no longer take up and properly discharge his weapons. Seeing his master's death near at hand, Ravana's charioteer drove him swiftly away from the battlefield, beyond the reach of Rama's arrows. The charioteer then said, "O king, I took you away from the fighting only for your welfare. You appear to have lost all your strength, and your horses were exhausted. Many inauspicious omens were visible, so I did what I considered to be my foremost duty." Ravana became pacified by his driver's words and then ordered, "Go quickly to where Rama is." Once Ravana makes up his mind, he does not turn back until he has completely vanquished his enemies. In Ravana's absence, Agastya Rishi came before Rama, knowing him to be greatly fatigued from the fighting. After being properly honored and welcomed, Agastya said, "My dear Lord Rama, kindly receive from me the Aditya Hridaya prayer, meant for satisfying the sun god. The mantra bestows great blessings and cleanses all sins. One who chants this hymn prolongs his life and remains always fixed on the eternal path of religion." The mantra is as follows. "O presiding deity of the sun, I offer my obeisances unto you. You are the chief of all the demigods because of your unlimited effulgence, which maintains the entire universe. Indeed, both demigods and demons worship you for their ultimate welfare. You are the reservoir of all universal energy and the source of life for all beings. As such, you perfectly represent the Supreme Lord Vishnu as his empowered expansion. Men who are knowers of the Vedas therefore worship you as Lord Narayana, situated within the sun, by chanting suitable prayers 3 times daily. It is you alone who destroy the dense darkness of this universe, and thus I bow down unto you, O splendorous one. Again and again I offer my obeisances unto you, O eye of the Supreme Lord, and witness of the world's activities. Agastya Rishi concluded, O Rama, if you recite this mantra while worshipping the sun god, then you will certainly be able to conquer your enemy. Anyone who is in difficulty and worships Surya with this prayer never comes to grief. Agastya then left. Rama already felt rejuvenated, and thereafter he sipped water 3 times while uttering the holy names of the Lord. Then, with his gaze fixed upon the sun, Rama recited the Aditya Hridaya prayer and experienced great transcendental bliss. As Rama again took up his bow and advanced towards Ravana, Surya spoke to him from the sky, urging, "Do not delay, go quickly!" Rama then ordered, "O Mathili, drive quickly to where Ravana is staying, but do so with great caution." Remembering that he was speaking to Indra's charioteer, Rama became embarrassed and apologized, saying, "I am sorry to have instructed you as if I were your master. I am simply eager to kill Ravana, and hope you will excuse my offense." Mathili was touched by Rama's display of humility, and soon brought Indra's chariot close to Ravana's side. Rama and Ravana then exchanged arrows, and the fighting again became fierce. Evil omens came into view, foreboding the destruction of the Rakshasa king. Clouds rained blood upon Ravana's chariot, and a flock of vultures followed behind him. A huge meteor then fell close by, causing all the Rakshasas to become despondent, convinced that Ravana would soon die. Conversely, pleasing signs appeared before Rama, indicating that victory would soon be his. Thereafter, Rama and Ravana exhibited the entire wealth of their prowess. The competition became so intense that the armies were stunned with amazement. Indeed, the soldiers stood motionless like paintings. They were so absorbed in watching the fight that they did not even think of attacking each other. When Ravana tried to cut Indra's flag, Rama deflected his arrows with his own. Determined to match Ravana blow for blow, Rama knocked down the Rakshasa king's flag. Next, Ravana shot Indra's horses. But when the celestial steeds did not even stagger, Ravana became frustrated. Ravana resorted to using his Rakshasa powers of illusion to shoot forth clubs, discs, trees, and mountain peaks. Rama counteracted all these weapons before they reached his chariot, causing them to fall upon the monkey army. Both Rama and Ravana continued to dispatch thousands of arrows at each other, and as they collided in the sky, the shafts fell down onto the battlefield. In this way, the fighting continued for nearly 1 hour, as Rama matched Ravana blow for blow. As all created beings looked on, their minds were filled with wonder. Both chariot drivers also displayed great skill. But then, as the chariots came side by side, Rama forced Ravana's 4 horses to turn away by cutting them with 4 arrows. This increased Ravana's anger, and he repeatedly assailed Rama with his arrows in retaliation. Rama remained undisturbed. Thus, the exchange of weapons became so feverish that the fighting was unparalleled in the history of warfare. Sometimes Ravana displayed his 10-headed feature, and at others he appeared in his normal persona with only 1 head. Suddenly, Rama severed Ravana's head with an arrow. However, as the severed head fell to the ground, a duplicate miraculously appeared in its place. Rama then severed that head, but again another replaced it too. Again and again, Rama continued to sever Ravana's head until 100 of Ravana's heads had fallen on the battlefield. Each time, a new head appeared in the place of the old one. Rama wondered, "With these arrows, I previously killed Maricha, Khara, and Viradha. I pierced 7 mighty trees and slayed the invincible Vali. These arrows have humbled great mountains and agitated the fathomless ocean. How is it that they are now ineffectual against Ravana?" The duel thus continued at a fierce pace, both combatants obsessed with killing the other. Indeed, several days and nights passed without a gap in the fighting. Finally, when Mathili saw that Rama was not gaining his desired victory, he inquired, "Why are you only fighting in a defensive manner? My lord, are you not aware of your limitless potencies?"
The hour of doom has now arrived for the king of the Rakshasas. Why do you not employ the divine Brahmastra?" Reminded of his ultimate weapon, Rama took up the arrow that Agastya Rishi had formerly given him at the time of their meeting in the Dandakaranya forest. Lord Brahma had personally created this arrow for Indra's use, and later it was presented to Agastya. The feathers of the wonderful arrow were supplied by Garuda and presided over by Vayu. The razor-sharp head was created with the combined energy of the fire god Agni and the sun god Surya. Mount Meru and Mount Mandara contributed their gravity, becoming the arrow's weight, and its shaft was made from a subtle ethereal element. The wonderful Brahmastra arrow was omnipotent and infallible, and its dazzling effulgence rivaled the sun's. Empowering the arrow with the required mantras, Rama placed the terrible Brahmastra upon his bowstring. While gazing upon the flaming arrow, the monkeys became filled with delight, while dread penetrated the hearts of the Rakshasas. As Rama pulled the bowstring back to his ear, the earth began to shudder, and the heavens appeared to be thrown into confusion. At last, when Rama released the Brahmastra, it sped through the air like death itself, striking violently the chest of the Rakshasa king. Piercing through Ravana's heart like a thunderbolt, the fierce arrow then entered into the earth, taking Ravana's sinful life along with it. Then, as the wonderful Brahmastra re-entered Rama's quiver, Ravana dropped his bow from his hand. Vomiting blood from his 10 mouths, he fell down, dead, upon the ground. Upon seeing this, Ravana's followers raised a tumultuous sound, crying, "Alas! Alas! What has happened? What has happened?" With great transcendental ecstasy, the monkey warriors loudly proclaimed Rama's victory and pursued the fleeing Rakshasa army. From the sky, the demigods shouted, "Well done! Excellent!" as they covered Rama's chariot with showers of flowers and beat upon celestial drums. With Ravana dead, the rishis and demigods felt blessed relief and peace of mind that they had not enjoyed for a very long time. A gentle, cool, fragrant breeze then began to blow, and the sun serenely spread its rays so that happiness appeared to pervade all directions. Jai Shri Ram! So, there we go. Ravana's down, and all victory, all glory to Shri Ram. Sugriva, Angada, Vibhishana and Lakshmana were the first to come and pay homage to Rama. However, when Vibhishana saw his elder brother lying dead on the battlefield, he broke down and cried in an outburst of grief. Meanwhile, news of Ravana's death spread through the inner apartments of the royal palace. All of Ravana's wives came out of the city to the battlefield, their hair disheveled and ornaments in disarray. The ladies approached the dead body of their husband, wailing loudly. Overcome with unbearable grief, some of the women rolled in the dust, while others embraced different parts of Ravana's body, crying out, "O Lord, O my husband!" One of the ladies hung around Ravana's neck, while others clutched at his feet, rubbed his wounded chest, and threw their arms up in despair. Others fainted away, unable to bear the grief. Amid the sounds of loud wailing, they could be heard lamenting, "Oh dear husband, by ignoring our good advice and that of Vibhishana, you have brought about your own destruction. Now that you are dead, we too are vanquished, for the wife has no other support than the husband. This is the inevitable end. However, for such a cruel and hard-hearted person like you, who else would have dared to kidnap Sita and keep her against her will?" Ravana's favorite queen, Mandodari, then lamented, "O my lord, O master, you epitomized trouble for others, and therefore you were called Ravana. But now that you have been defeated, we also are defeated, for without you the state of Lanka has been conquered by the enemy. To whom will it go for shelter? My dear husband, although you were so powerful, you could not stand before Lord Ram. You were too confident of your acquired prowess. Thus you became a great burden to the earth. You could not understand that Lord Vishnu himself had descended upon the earth as Lord Ram to relieve that burden. O Ravana, your sinful passion for Sita has become the cause of destruction for all Rakshasas. You always masqueraded as a great hero, yet you were proven to be a coward when you deceitfully kidnapped Sita. You came under the influence of lusty desires, and therefore you could not understand the influence of Mother Sita. Now, because of her curse, you have been reduced to this state, having been killed by Lord Ramachandra. O pleasure of the Rakshasa dynasty, because of you the state of Lanka and also we ourselves now have no protector. By your deeds you have made your body fit to be eaten by vultures and your soul fit to go to hell. But even though your character was abominable, I do not see how I will go on living in your absence. Finally, Mandodari fainted, with her head against Ravana's chest. Then her co-wives lifted her up and revived her to consciousness. Rama then ordered Vibhishana, "Begin the funeral rites for your brother without further delay. It will only be possible to comfort Ravana's widows after his body has been cremated." Vibhishana replied, "I do not wish to perform the funeral rites for a man who kidnapped the wives of others, who was merciless and tyrannical, and who was inclined towards irreligion. Since he was my elder brother, it is my duty to respect Ravana, but at the same time his actions were those of an enemy, and thus he does not deserve my worship." Rama then said, "I approve of your words because they uphold the cause of virtue. Still, I want you to cremate the body of your brother. Regardless of his faults, all hostilities have now ended." Vibhishana then went to Lanka to make preparations for Ravana's funeral. After bringing his maternal grandfather, Malyavan, Vibhishana placed the body of Ravana upon the funeral carrier and proceeded with numerous other Rakshasas carrying the firewood. Going toward the south, the party arrived at the consecrated place, where they cremated Ravana's body according to Vedic injunctions. Thereafter Ravana's wives were consoled, and everyone returned to Lanka. Having given up his transcendental anger, Rama assumed a gentle countenance and laid aside his bow, arrow, and armor. With the fighting concluded, the demigods left from the sky overhead and went back to their boats. While going, they chanted the glories of Lord Ram with great satisfaction. Then, after receiving due honor from Rama and permission to depart, Matali ascended into the sky upon Indra's chariot and returned to the heavenly kingdom. Returning to his military camp, Rama ordered Lakshmana to perform the installation ceremony for Vibhishana. In turn, Lakshmana gave golden vessels to the chief monkeys and ordered them to quickly fetch water from the four seas. Lakshmana performed the installation ceremony strictly according to Vedic injunctions. All of Lanka's citizens came to the sacrificial arena with presentations of auspicious articles. After receiving these gifts, Vibhishana offered them to Rama. Rama then told Hanuman, "Please go and find out how Sita is. Inform her that I have killed Ravana and return here with any message she may have for me." Hanuman then went to the Ashoka grove and found the grief-stricken Sita still surrounded by hideous Rakshasis. Standing meekly before her, Hanuman said, "Your husband has sent me here to give you the following message. After many sleepless months, I have fulfilled my vow to rescue you. Now that your oppressor, the king of Rakshasas, is dead, you may give up your anxiety." Hearing the news of Ravana's death and Rama's well-being, Sita became so overwhelmed with joy that she could not speak for some time. When Hanuman asked her why she did not make any reply, Sita said, "I can hardly speak because I am so elated. O Hanuman, what you have told me is unlimitedly more valuable than any amount of gold or jewels." With folded hands, Hanuman suggested, "If you so desire, I can kill all of these hideous Rakshasis who have been torturing you for so long. Indeed, I would take great pleasure in avenging all the suffering you have had to undergo. I simply wait for your permission." The compassionate Sita replied, "They are only foolish maidservants who were compelled to carry out the orders of their king. Whatever I have suffered was due to my own past misdeeds. These Rakshasi women only acted as instruments in the hands of destiny. O Hanuman, perhaps you have heard this. A great man never takes into account the offenses that are committed against him by another person. Indeed, he vows at all costs not to return evil with evil. Once there was a hunter who was being chased by a tiger. While trying to escape, he climbed up into a big tree. However, high in the branches of that tree, a bear was perched, relaxing. Upon seeing the bear, the tiger called to him, saying, "This hunter is our common enemy. You should push him out of the tree so I can eat him." The bear, however, replied, "Because this hunter has taken shelter of my home, I will not do anything to harm him. To do so would be unrighteous." Saying this, the bear went to sleep. The tiger then said to the hunter, "If you push the bear out of this tree, I can eat him. Then I promise I will not harm you." Swayed by the tiger's words, the hunter pushed the sleeping bear. However, as he was falling, the bear grabbed another branch and saved himself. The tiger said to the bear, "See, since this hunter tried to kill you, you should retaliate by pushing him out of the tree." But even though the tiger appealed to the bear like this repeatedly, the bear refused, saying, "A great person never takes into account the sins of a person who has offended him. Instead, at all costs, he keeps his vow never to return evil for evil, knowing that good conduct is the ornament of virtuous persons." Being thus admonished, Hanuman asked Sita if she had a message to give Rama. She replied, "My only words are these. I long to see my dear husband, who is known to be always very affectionate to his unalloyed devotees. Hanuman said, Be assured that you will see Rama and Lakshmana this very day. Please allow me to leave so that I may deliver your message without delay. Hanuman returned to Rama and related Sita's message. He urged Rama to meet with Sita, saying, Because Sita has suffered so much, always longing to see you, please go to the Ashoka grove at once. When Rama heard this appeal, tears came to his eyes. Then his eyes cast down, he ordered Vibhishana, Let Sita be brought before me after bathing, dressing, and adorning herself with celestial ornaments. Vibhishana then went to the Ashoka grove, and through the Rakshasis made his presence known to Sita. Humbly approaching her, Vibhishana said, Rama desires to see you. Please mount this palanquin that I have brought. Rama asks that you suitably prepare yourself by bathing, dressing, and adorning yourself with celestial ornaments. Sita then went to bathe, and after dressing herself nicely, she was placed upon the palanquin and brought before Rama. When Vibhishana first approached Rama, he saw that the Lord's head was bent low, as if he was absorbed in thought. Vibhishana then announced Sita's arrival. Rama requested she be brought before him at once. Out of natural curiosity, hordes of monkeys had come to catch a glimpse of Sita. However, Vibhishana and his assistants began pushing them back, and there arose a great commotion. Because of strong affection for his servitors, Rama became annoyed by seeing this and told Vibhishana, Do not harass these monkeys. There is nothing wrong if a chaste woman is seen in public during a time of adversity or war, at a Swayamvara, at sacrifices, or at a wedding. Therefore, please allow the monkeys to see Sita if they so desire. Rama then ordered, Let Sita come down from the palanquin and come before me on foot. As Vibhishana escorted Sita, the monkey chiefs could understand that Rama was in an angry mood. They were surprised not only that Rama was upset, but he was making Sita walk in public view, his manner stern and grave. Sita approached Rama with great shyness, seeming to shrink into herself. Then when Sita saw the moon-like handsome face of her beloved husband, her miseries immediately disappeared, causing her natural shining effulgence to return. Sita was exceedingly happy to see her beloved, and her lotus-like mouth showed her joy. But Rama was in a different mood. Rama's heart was tormented by fear of a public scandal. Therefore he addressed Sita in an angry tone. I have fulfilled my vow to win you back and thus avenge Ravana's insult to my honor. However, you should understand that my great endeavor to kill the Rakshasa king was not really for your sake, but to vindicate my good name and the reputation of the Ishvaku dynasty. In truth, your appearance before me is not at all pleasing. Thus, I now grant you leave to go wherever you desire. No cultured man will accept a wife who has been embraced by another or who has dwelt in the house of someone else for so long. I am sure that no woman would have remained with Ravana for such a long time without being enjoyed by him. Ravana was obsessed by lust for you. How could he have controlled himself and refrained from ravishing you by force? By killing Ravana, I have regained my honor. However, there is no need to have any more attachment for you. You are now free to do as you like. Fix your mind upon Lakshmana, Bharata, or anyone else you choose. As Sita heard Rama's speech, her hair stood on end, her head bent low in shame. Since before she had only heard loving words from her husband, Rama's words entered her heart like sharp arrows. She began to weep bitterly. Since she was in the presence of innumerable witnesses, it was difficult for her to endure her husband's reproaches. Then wiping the tears from her eyes, Sita replied in a faltering voice, How can you dare speak about me in such an irresponsible manner? Never for a moment have I given up my chastity, either by body, mind, or words. My character is pure. You should not judge me as though I were an ordinary woman. Although I am called Janaki, the daughter of King Janaka, my birth was transcendental, for I peered from the earth itself. O Rama, if it was your plan all along to cruelly reject me in this way, why didn't you inform me when Hanuman came as your messenger? If I knew that you did not intend to take me back, I would have immediately given up my life, thus avoiding many months of unbearable pain. Likewise, you could have avoided this ghastly war that has taken the lives of countless Rakshasas and monkeys. What was the need of demanding so much service from your allies? O Rama, why are you acting like this? Does my pure devotion to you mean nothing? Sita then addressed Lakshmana, saying, Please build a large fire for me to enter. This is the only path that remains for one who has been rejected by her husband in public. Suppressing his agitation, Lakshmana looked at Rama and saw that his elder brother approved of Sita's words. Thus Lakshmana went to prepare the fire. Rama appeared so stern and intense that no one dared to even speak to him, what to speak of pacifying him. When the fire was built and blazed up brightly, Sita circumambulated Rama. Then coming before the fire with folded hands, Sita bowed down to the Brahmanas and demigods. Next Sita said aloud, offering a prayer to Agni, O God of fire, because my heart has never turned away from Rama, please grant me protection. Although I have never been unfaithful to Rama in thought, word or deed, he accuses me of being polluted. Therefore, O God of fire, seer of all within the three worlds, I request you to become the witness of my purity. Saying this, Sita circumambulated the fire. Then, as the huge crowd looked on in wonder, Sita entered into the flames with a fearless mind. Within the blazing fire, Sita, who was adorned with dazzling golden ornaments, shone with wonderful golden effulgence. As soon as Sita entered the fire, all the women present screamed with horror, and a cry of anguish arose from the assembled monkeys and rakshasas. In the midst of great wailing, Rama appeared to become thoughtful. Meanwhile, the chief of demigods appeared before him, riding upon their celestial vehicles. As Rama stood before them with folded hands, the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, said, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramachandra, we are very pained to see how you are neglecting your eternal consort, Mother Sita. You are the creator of the universe and the lord of all demigods. Why do you ignore your divinity and reject Sita as though you are a common man? Rama then replied, I consider myself to be an ordinary human being, the son of Maharaj Dasharatha. However, if there is something more to be said, then perhaps you, Lord Brahma, can disclose it to me. Lord Brahma said, My dear Lord Ram, you are directly Lord Narayan himself, and thus you are identical with all the forms of Narayana. You are a plenary expansion of Lord Sri Krishna, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are the cause of all causes. You are the universal form and the support of the cosmic manifestation. All the demigods are your parts and parcel, and your eternal servants. Moreover, Sita is none other than Lakshmi herself, the supreme goddess of fortune. Both of you have appeared on the earth to destroy Ravana. Now that this mission has been accomplished, O Lord, you may return to your transcendental abode in the spiritual sky after ruling over the earth for as long as you desire. As soon as Lord Brahma finished speaking, the fire god Agni emerged from the flames with Sita. As Agni presented Sita before Rama, everyone could see how her body, bright red dress, ornaments and hair showed no sign of being even slightly burnt. In his capacity as a universal witness, Agni announced, O Rama, here is your dear wife Sita. She is devoid of even the smallest tinge of sin. Sita was never the slightest bit unfaithful to you, by mind, word or glance, what to speak of any action. Therefore, my dear Rama, you must accept Sita without reservation, giving up your harsh words and demeanor. Rama was pleased to hear Agni's testimony, and as tears of joy fell from his eyes, he replied, O Agni, it was necessary for Sita to undergo this trial by fire, just to convince the masses of her spotless purity. If I had prevented her from entering the fire, people would have criticized me for accepting her without first proving her chastity. They would have concluded that I was simply motivated by lust. In truth, I already knew of Sita's chastity, and that Ravana could never pollute her. She is always fully protected by the power of her righteousness. It was only to prove Sita's chastity to the world that I appeared to neglect her. Indeed, Sita is non-different from me, for she is directly my internal potency. Just as sunlight, being non-different from the sun, is inseparable from the sun, so too there is no possibility of my being separated from Sita. Rama felt great transcendental bliss in being reunited with Sita. His pastimes are all manifestations of his internal potency, enacted for the purpose of relishing spiritual exchanges. Lord Shiva then embraced Rama, saying, My dear Lord, by slaying the incomparably powerful Ravana, you have performed a wonderful feat that will be glorified throughout the three worlds until the time of dissolution. Pointing to the sky, Lord Shiva said, O Rama, see how your father is waiting there, seated upon his celestial chariot. Having been delivered by your mercy, he now resides on Indra's planet. Go quickly with Lakshmana and be reunited with Maharaj Dasharatha, for he has come here just to see you. Rama and Lakshmana went and bowed down before their father. Feeling extremely delighted, Maharaj Dasharatha took Rama upon his lap and said, My residence in heaven does not give me any real pleasure. O Rama, only now that I am able to see you do I feel happy. All along, Kaikeyi's words demanding your exile remained imprinted upon my heart. Only now that your period of banishment has come to an end do I feel somewhat relieved. However, I still yearn to see you return to Ayodhya and be installed as Emperor of the world after being reunited with Bharata. I can now understand that you are the Supreme Lord Vishnu himself, and that you have descended upon the earth just to vanquish Ravana. Rama replied, My dear father, I too feel greatly relieved that my exile has come to an end, and my mission is accomplished. However, I have one request to make of you. Please withdraw your harsh words spoken at the time of my banishment, disowning Kaikeyi and Bharata. Maharaj Dasharatha readily consented, saying, Let it be so. He then fondly embraced Lakshmana and declared, My dear son, because of the dedicated service you have rendered to Rama, I am eternally indebted to you. Please know that your elder brother is directly the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing in human form for the welfare of the world. He is worshipable even by the greatest of demigods. What to speak of ourselves? Maharaj Dasharatha then told Sita, Please bear no grudge towards Rama for having tested your purity. Know that your remarkable behavior will earn you a place in history as the most glorious woman the world has ever seen. Having thus spoken, Maharaj Dasharatha mounted his celestial chariot and ascended towards heaven. As Rama stood with folded hands, Indra said, My audience can never go in vain. Thus I wish for you to take a benediction from me. Rama was pleased to hear Indra's statement and thus requested, O King of the Celestials, please bring back to life all the monkey warriors who died in my service. Additionally, let all the trees in the places where these heroes dwell become full of fruits, even when it's out of season. Indra replied, Although this boon is very difficult even for me to grant, I shall happily do so. Just then, all the monkeys who had died in the battle began to rise up from the ground, their wounds completely healed. It seemed to them as if they were awakening from a long sleep. However, when they saw Rama and all the demigods before them, the monkeys could understand that they had got back their lost lives, and thus felt supremely delighted. Indra then departed, followed by the demigods, while Rama and the monkeys spent the night in that palace. The next morning, Vibhishana came before Rama with numerous maidservants carrying paraphernalia for his bath. However, Rama ordered, My dear Vibhishana, summon all the monkeys, headed by Sugriva. Let them enjoy this royal luxury. As long as I am separated from Bharata, who is practicing severe austerities on my behalf, such opulence does not appeal to me. My only request is that you arrange for my speedy passage back to Ayodhya. Indeed, to travel there by foot would be an arduous journey. Vibhishana replied, If you will ride in the Pushpaka chariot, you can reach Ayodhya this very day. However, I humbly request that yourself, Sita and Lakshmana remain here for some time with the army of monkeys, so I may royally entertain everyone before your departure. Rama said, I certainly cannot refuse your hospitality. However, I am growing increasingly anxious to meet Bharata, Kaushalya and my stepmothers. Therefore, I beg you to permit me to depart without delay. Vibhishana went quickly and brought Rama the Pushpaka chariot. This wonderful chariot originally belonged to Kuvera before Ravana stole it from him. The chariot was constructed from gold by Vishwakarma with seats of gems. The wonderful spaceship could travel anywhere, following the mental indication of its driver. Thus, when Rama and Lakshmana saw the chariot hovering before them, awaiting their command, they were quite astonished. Before departing, Rama requested Vibhishana to present gifts of gold and jewels to all the monkey soldiers. Then Rama mounted the Pushpaka chariot with Sita and Lakshmana. Addressing the assembly, Rama said, My dear monkey warriors, there is no way I can repay you for your heroic fighting on my behalf. Your unflinching devotional service will always serve as an inspiration for future devotees. Thus your glories will forever shine brightly. Now please return to Kishkinda and live there happily under Sugriva's leadership. Vibhishana, you should accept responsibility for ruling over Lanka immediately, since the citizens are now bereft of their king. Then, standing before Rama with folded hands, Sugriva and Vibhishana pleaded, O Lord, please allow us to accompany you to Ayodhya. After seeing the coronation ceremonies, we shall return home. Rama replied, Nothing would please me more than to return to Ayodhya with all of my dear friends. Therefore, you and all the monkey heroes can board the Pushpaka chariot, and we will embark immediately. Finally, after all were comfortably seated, the Pushpaka chariot rose majestically into the air. While all the monkeys and bears were enjoying the flight, Rama pointed out the sights to Sita. Look there at the battlefield, where all the heroic Lakshasas lay dead, all killed for your sake. Look, this is where Ravana fell. This is the spot where Kumbhakarna was slain. This is where Indrajit was defeated, and this is where Prahasta died. Over there is the bridge called Nalasetu, by which we cross the ocean to Lanka. There on the far shore is the place called Setu Bandhana, where the bridge construction began. Rameshwaram. From this time onward, Setu Bandhana will be a most sacred place, capable of washing away all of one's accumulated sinful reactions. Thus, as Rama pointed to Kishkinda, Sita said, I would be pleased if I could return to Ayodhya in the company of the wives of the monkey chiefs. Happy to grant Sita's request, the chariot halted as Rama instructed Sugriva and the other warriors to quickly bring their wives. When everyone was seated, their journey continued. Rama pointed out to Sita, there is Mount Rishyamukha, where I met Sugriva, and nearby you can see heavenly lake Pampa, which abounds with bluish lotus flowers. There you can see the river Godavari, and on its banks is the ashrama of Agastya Rishi. O Sita, there is the spot where Ravana kidnapped you. There is Chitrakuta, where Bharata came to meet me. Over there is the river Yamuna. And there is the mighty Ganga, where King Guha's capital lies on the river banks. In this way, Rama, Sita and Lakshmana's entire forest life was displayed in reverse order as they retraced their way back to Ayodhya. Finally, the river Sarayu came into view, and at last the outskirts of Ayodhya. Before entering the city, however, Rama stopped at the ashram of Bharadvaj Rishi to inquire about his relatives' welfare before meeting them. After happily welcoming Rama, Bharadvaja replied to his inquiries, saying, in your absence, Bharata has been living a life of severe renunciation, wearing deerskin and tree bark, and keeping matted hair. He has been ruling the kingdom as your subordinate by keeping your shoes on the royal throne. O Rama, by dint of my mystic power, I know that you have removed the burden of the earth. Therefore, I would be pleased to award any benediction you desire. Rama happily replied, let all of the trees along the way to Ayodhya become filled with fruits and flowers. Let streams of honey flow down from the trees, exuding the fragrance of nectar. As soon as his words were spoken, the trees along the way to Ayodhya immediately filled up with sumptuous fruit. Seeing this miraculous transformation, thousands of monkeys quickly jumped down from the Pushpaka chariot and began feasting to their full satisfaction. Rama was always thinking of how he could reward the monkeys for their selfless service. Thus it pleased him to see them satisfied in this manner. Turning to Hanuman, Rama said, please inform Guha of my arrival. Then go to Nandigram and describe to Bharata all the events concerning Sita's abduction and her subsequent recovery. Watch carefully the expression on Bharata's face when he hears of my arrival. Then report back to me before we depart from this ashrama. If Bharata wishes to rule the kingdom himself, whether due to attachment for position, power, or royal luxury, or even from Kaikeyi's urging, I will be happy to allow him to do so. Hanuman took a human form and departed, travelling through the air. He first informed Guha that Rama would come to meet him after spending the night at Bharadvaj's ashrama. Upon his arrival at Nandigram, Hanuman saw Bharata, dressed in tree bark, wearing matted hair. Bharata was living in a small cottage, subsisting only on fruits and roots, and he appeared to be very miserable and emaciated. Hanuman then approached Bharata, announcing, I have come as a messenger from Rama. He inquires about your welfare and wishes to inform you that he will soon return to Ayodhya. When he heard these glorious words, Bharata's face immediately lit up with great delight. Then, becoming exhilarated with transcendental emotion, he fainted to the ground. Upon coming to his senses, Bharata stood up and embraced Hanuman with great satisfaction. Then, while bathing Hanuman with torrents of tears, Bharata said, because you have brought me this good news, I shall immediately reward you with 100,000 cows, 100 villages, and 16 virgin girls to marry. Now please sit down and tell me everything that happened during Rama's exile. Once Hanuman had finished telling Bharata everything of Rama's exile, up to the point of his imminent return, Bharata exclaimed, my long-cherished wish has finally been fulfilled. Bharata then ordered Shatrughna to make all the arrangements for Rama's reception. Thus, Sumantra and the other ministers soon arrived at Nandigram riding elephants. Kaushalya, Sumitra and Kaikeyi then arrived on palanquins, while engineers hurried to construct a new road connecting Nandigram with Ayodhya. After all the arrangements had been made, Bharata picked up Rama's sandals, a white royal umbrella and chamaras. Then, accompanied by many brahmanas, he left his cottage amid the blowing of conch shells and the beating of drums. The news of Rama's arrival had spread instantly, and almost the entire population of Ayodhya came to Nandigram, hoping to see him. Bharata was accompanied by his ministers, priests, and other respectable citizens, by professional musicians, vibrating pleasing musical sounds, by learned brahmanas, loudly chanting Vedic hymns. Following in the procession were chariots drawn by beautiful horses with harnesses of golden rope. These chariots were decorated by flags with golden embroidery and by other flags of various sizes and patterns. There were soldiers bedecked with golden armor, servants bearing betel nut, and many well-known and beautiful society girls. Many servants followed on foot, bearing an umbrella, whisks, different grades of precious stones, and other paraphernalia befitting a royal reception. However, when after some time there was no sign of Rama, Bharata anxiously said to Hanuman, "I pray you are not exhibiting your frivolous monkey nature by joking with me." Hanuman then pointed to the distance where clouds of dust were being raised by the approaching monkeys. Just then a far-off roaring came to be heard. When Hanuman suddenly sighted the Pushpaka chariot in the distance, he shouted, "Here comes Sri Ram!" A loud, spontaneous cheer suddenly arose from the crowd as they too sighted the Pushpaka chariot, which appeared to be just like a full moon rising in the sky. Everyone respectfully got down from their chariots, elephants and horses, as Bharata began worshipping Rama from a distance. With folded hands, Bharata recited prayers in glorification of Lord Ram, and he offered water and other paraphernalia in worship. Finally, when Bharata could clearly see Rama glowing magnificently at the front of the Pushpaka chariot, he bowed down with great reverence. As the celestial airship landed, Bharata rushed forward and climbed onto the chariot to greet his older brother. Rama immediately got up from his seat to embrace Bharata, taking him onto his lap. Bharata, his heart softened in ecstasy and his eyes full of tears, approached Lord Ramachandra and fell at his lotus feet with great ecstatic love. Lord Ramachandra saw that Bharata was much emaciated, and hearing that in his absence his brother was eating only barley cooked in the urine of a cow, covering his body with the bark of trees, wearing matted locks of hair, and lying on a mattress of kusha, the most merciful Lord Rama very much lamented this. Afterwards, Bharata greeted Lakshmana and Sita, showering them with praise. He then greeted Sugriva by embracing him, saying, "Although we are four, you are now just like our fifth brother." Meanwhile, Rama approached his mother, Kaushalya, and lovingly clasped her feet. Then one after another, Rama greeted Sumitra, Kaikeyi, and Vashishta, while all the citizens came forward with folded hands to welcome him. Accompanied by Sita and Lakshmana, Lord Ramachandra then offered his respectful obeisances unto the learned Brahmanas and the elderly persons in the family, and all the citizens of Ayodhya offered their respectful obeisances unto the Lord. The citizens of Ayodhya, upon seeing their king return after a long absence, offered him flower garlands, waved their upper cloths, and danced in great jubilation. Thereafter Bharata came before Rama with Rama's wooden shoes in hand. While carefully placing the slippers upon Rama's lotus feet, Bharata said, "Here is the kingdom I have overseen in your absence. By your mercy, Ayodhya is flourishing. The treasury, storehouses, and army have increased tenfold. My duty is now over, and I hereby relinquish everything unto you." After offering the wooden shoes before Lord Ramachandra, Bharata stood up with folded hands, his eyes full of tears, and Lord Ramachandra bathed Bharata with tears while embracing him with both arms for a long time. After this, Rama ordered the Pushpaka chariot to return to its rightful owner, the god of wealth, Kuvera. Thus the celestial vehicle ascended into the sky, heading towards the north. Then, as Rama sat at the feet of his spiritual master, Vashishta, Bharata came before him and requested, "My dear elder brother, please install yourself upon the royal throne without further delay and resume a life of royal luxury." Lord Ramachandra then entered Ayodhya in the midst of a great festival. He was greeted on the road by the princely order, who showered his body with beautiful, fragrant flowers, while great personalities like Lord Brahma and other demigods glorified the activities of the Lord in great jubilation. The family priest, Vashishta, had Lord Ramachandra cleanly shaved, freeing him from his matted locks of hair. After bathing, Rama at last again dressed in royal style and was decorated with a garland and ornaments. The three mothers similarly adorned Sita, and the wives of the monkeys were similarly dressed and ornamented. Next, at Shatrughna's command, Sumantra came before Rama with a lavishly decorated chariot. Rama graciously mounted it, and Bharata took up the reins while Shatrughna held the royal white umbrella. On either side of Rama stood Lakshmana and Vibhishana, waving a fan and a chamra, while from the sky the demigods and celestial rishis glorified Rama with carefully chosen words. As Rama proceeded towards Ayodhya, a huge procession followed him. As all the monkeys appeared in human form, rode elephants. As all the monkeys appearing in human form rode elephants. Therefore, when Rama entered his capital, he saw how all the citizens had come out of their houses, lining the streets to welcome him. Men and women, children and the elderly, gazed upon Ram as though they were getting back their lost lives. While waving their cloths and jumping up with excitement, the people shouted, "Our beloved prince has returned! All glories to Lord Ram, the maintainer of his devotees!" Amid the playing of musicians and the chanting of Vedic hymns, Ram glanced lovingly over his subjects. Rama greeted his ministers and described to them his political alliances with the monkeys and Vibhishana. Thus he came to his father's palace. Ram ordered that his own palace be given for Sugriva's use. Bharata then took the monkey king by the hand and led him there. At Bharata's request, Jambavan, Hanuman, Gavya, and Rishabha brought water from the 4 seas, while 500 powerful monkeys brought water from 500 sacred rivers. The vessels of water were then placed before Vashishta, and thereafter the rishi seated Rama and Sita upon a throne made of the most valuable jewels. Assisted by Vamadev, Jabali, Kashyapa, Katyayana, Suyagnya, Gautama, and Vijaya rishis, Vashishta performed the bathing ceremony with the first ablutions performed by Brahmanas. Next, Rama was bathed by a virgin girl, followed by his minister, the leading warriors, and Vaishyas one after another. After the final bathing, Vashishta ordered the 4 Lokapalas and the other chief demigods witnessing the coronation from the sky to sprinkle Rama with herbs. Then, as Rama sat upon a golden throne bedecked with valuable gems, Vashishta placed the royal crown upon his head and decorated his body with golden ornaments. The crown, formerly worn by all the kings in the Ishvaku dynasty, was made by Lord Brahma especially for the coronation of Vaivashvata Manu. At Indra's prompting, Vayu placed a garland made from 100 golden lotus flowers around Rama's neck and presented him with a celestial necklace of pearls and gems. Shatrughna held the royal umbrella over Rama's head as Sugriva and Vibhishana fanned him from both sides. Thereafter, as Gandharvas sang and Apsaras danced in ecstasy, Rama gave in charity 100,000 cows, 300 million gold coins, and all varieties of precious jewels to the Brahmanas. Rama presented Sugriva with a celestial necklace and gave Angada a pair of bracelets adorned with diamonds and precious stones. Rama presented Sita a necklace previously given to him by Vayu, along with many lavishingly decorated dresses. Sita desired to present Hanuman with a gift as a token of her appreciation for all he had done for her. With this in her mind, she unclasped the necklace Rama had given her and looked towards Rama questioningly. Understanding her intention, Rama requested Sita to present the necklace to Hanuman. Thus she happily placed it around his neck. Thereafter, all the monkey chiefs were given valuable clothing and ornaments. In this way, Rama's coronation came to a successful conclusion. Completely satisfied at heart, the monkeys returned to their respective kingdoms, while Vibhishana returned to Lanka, where everyone had taken their leave. When everyone had taken their leave, Rama said to Lakshmana, "My dear brother, now that I have been installed upon the throne, I wish to install you as my heir apparent." Despite being urged repeatedly in this way, Lakshmana remained silent, for he refused to accept the proposal. Rama could well understand the mind of Lakshmana. Thus he finally conferred the honor upon Bharata. Rama ruled the earth from his capital Ayodhya for 11,000 years. During that time, he performed many sacrifices, including 100 horse sacrifices. During the reign of Lord Rama, the forests, the rivers, the hills and mountains, the states, the 7 islands, and the 7 seas were all favorable in supplying the necessities of life for all living beings. All bodily and mental suffering, disease, old age, bereavement, lamentation, distress, fear, and fatigue were completely absent. There were no widows to lament the loss of their husbands, nor were there diseases or thieves. Indeed, even wild animals gave up their natural enmity and thus did not kill one another. All the citizens were fully righteous, always looking towards Lord Ram as their Lord and Master. Beyond that, they saw Rama as their life and soul. Everyone lived for thousands of years and had thousands of sons. There was even no death for those who did not want it. All talk centered around Rama alone. Thus the entire earth appeared as if transformed into the kingdom of God, Vaikunta. Lava and Kusha thus concluded their narration. Anyone who listens daily to this wonderful story known as the Ramayana will become free from all sinful reactions. This sacred narration grants prowess, longevity, and victory to those who subdue their passions and hear it with faith. The reader of this Ramayana, if a woman, will receive sons, if a king will conquer the earth, if a traveler will reach his destination, and if a sinful person will be purified. Jai Shri Ram. That ends the Yuddha Kanda. The Yuddha Kanda brought us all the way through an amazing battle to the end of the overwhelmingly undefeatable Ravana. It brought us to a point where Rama returns back home. It tested Sita. It united Rama with Sita and brought us back to the point where they returned home. And then it united all four brothers. And after Rama's coronation, Lava and Kusha end their narration by saying that he lived many years and all was good in his reign. But we have one more kanda that we have to complete for the finishing of the Ramayana, and that is the Uttara Kanda. So, listening to this, it sounds like Lava and Kusha did not read the Uttara Kanda. They stopped with this narration. But it is a part of the Ramayana and it's a part of the book, and we are going to continue. And we will see what happened after Rama got coronated and what are the events that led to the arrival of Lava and Kusha and how this story finally ends. So, do you want a break? Do you continue? Oh, I'm okay. So, Uttarakand. It's there. Soon after Rama's coronation, all the great rishis came to Ayodhya to personally worship him and glorify his wonderful transcendental pastimes. The Sapta rishis, Vashishta, Kashyapa, Atri, Vishwamitra, Gautama, Jamadagni and Bharadwaja arrived at the royal palace, as did Kaushika, Kanva, Agastya and Dhaumya. When the gatekeeper informed him that these exalted rishis had arrived, Rama had them escorted into the royal court and stood with folded hands to greet them. Rama arranged comfortable seats for the sages and then offered them ceremonial worship and innumerable cows in charity. When the rishis were seated at ease, Rama respectfully inquired of their welfare. The rishis said, "O Rama, you have certainly satisfied us by descending on earth to exhibit your magnanimous pastimes. Now that Ravana is dead, we feel relief and happiness, for he was a great impediment to the progressive welfare of the world. Indeed, not only Ravana, but also many others such as Khara, Maricha, Kumbhakarna, Atikaya, Nikumba, Kumbha were terrorizing all living beings. Thus we are very grateful to you for destroying them. We are especially thankful that Indrajit is dead. There was no one comparable to Indrajit, even among the demigods, demons and Rakshasas. Except for yourself and Lakshmana, he could not be slain by anyone within the three worlds." Interrupting the stages, Rama curiously inquired, "O best of the rishis, why do you praise Indrajit even more than Kumbhakarna or Ravana? How is it that he became more powerful than his father and was able to defeat Indra, the king of heaven?" On behalf of the sages, Agastya replied by narrating the following history. Long ago in Satyuga, there lived a great Brahma Rishi named Pulastya, who was the son of Lord Brahma. Once upon a time, Pulastya went to the ashrama of the great sage Trinabindu on the slopes of Mount Meru to perform severe austerities. Because of the scenic beauty of the celestial place, the Apsaras frequently came there. Thus, along with Trinabindu's daughter, they would play, sing, and accompany themselves with musical instruments. It so happened that one day, while enjoying themselves in this way, the Apsaras unintentionally disrupted Pulastya's meditation. Becoming highly angered, the rishi cursed the girl, saying, "Whoever I see coming nearby again will become pregnant, simply by my glance." The Apsaras fearfully ran away, never daring to return to the place. The daughter of Trinabandhu, however, was not present that day and was unaware of the rishi's curse. Thus, the next day, when she went to play with her friends in the usual manner, she came within sight of Pulastya. Consequently, she soon found that she was pregnant, although without any apparent cause, and became extremely pale with fear. Returning home, she stood before her father, hanging her head in shame. Trinabandhu was quite surprised to see how his daughter's body had been transformed, and he anxiously inquired, "How has this happened, my child?" The girl replied, I wandered near the ashrama of Pulastya in search of my friends, when suddenly I found myself to be pregnant. I do not know why." Trinabandhu then entered into a trance of meditation, and by dint of his mystic vision, he was able to perceive how Pulastya's curse was the cause of his daughter's pregnancy. Trinabandhu then took his daughter to Pulastya and requested him to accept her as his wife. Since he was already inclined to have her, Pulastya agreed. Thus, from that time onwards, Trinabandhu's daughter began serving him with great love and devotion. Later, after becoming pleased with his wife's service, Pulastya said, "I shall now give you a son who will be my equal ensuring that my hereditary line will continue. Because you always listen to the Vedas while I am engaged in reciting them, your son's name will be Vishrava. Soon Pulastya's wife gave birth to a son, and because the boy was pure and detached, he spent his time engaged in austerities. In consideration of Vishrava's exalted qualities, the great sage Bharadwaja later gave his daughter Idavida to him in marriage. Then, after some time, Vishrava desired to beget a son who would promote the spiritual welfare of the masses of people. Thereafter, an exalted son was born to Idavida. This child was given the name Vaishravana by the sages, who understood that in future he would take the post of Kuvera, the lord of wealth. When he grew up, Vaishravana began performing austerities, maintaining his body with only water. Gradually, Vaishravana reduced his intake to only air, and finally, he even stopped breathing. In this way, 1,000 years passed quickly, seeming like a single year. Lord Brahma became pleased with Vaishravana's austerities and appeared before him, accompanied by all the demigods. When offered a benediction, Vaishravana expressed his desire to become a Lokapala. Lord Brahma then replied, "Indeed, I was already prepared to appoint a fourth Lokapala. Therefore, I grant your wish. You may assume the post of Kuvera, the Lord of Wealth, thus becoming equal in greatness to the other three Lokapalas, namely Yamaraj, Indra, and Varuna. Additionally, I shall award you a celestial vehicle befitting your exalted position. Here is the Pushpaka chariot." Lord Brahma departed, and because the universal grandsire had not designated a place of residence for him, Vaishravana went to his father, Vishrava. Vishrava said, "My dear son, you may reside at the city of Lanka, located on the Trikuta mountain. Vishwakarma built this place for the habitation of Rakshasas. However, Lanka is now vacant, since the Rakshasas long ago fled in fear of Lord Vishnu and have taken up their residence in Rasatala." Following his father's orders, Vaishravana took up residence at Lanka. In due course, because of his good rule, the place began to flourish and was filled with citizens known as Nairtas. Now and then, Vaishravana would mount his chariot and visit his parents. Rama sat listening to Agastya's discourse with great pleasure. However, he again politely interrupted, saying, "While I am anxious to hear the continuation of this story, I am curious to understand some points. Under what circumstances had the Rakshasas previously come to inhabit Lanka? I have heard that the Rakshasas were originally born from the eyebrows of Pulastya. However, it now appears that their origin must be different. Who is the actual ancestor of the original Rakshasas? How powerful were they in comparison to Ravana? Why were they driven away from Lanka by Lord Vishnu and made to reside below the earth?" Agastya continued his narration in sweet words. In the beginning of the cosmic manifestation, Lord Brahma created the oceans and then the living entities. When the created beings became tormented by hunger and thirst, they approached Lord Brahma and asked him what they should do. While laughing heartily, Brahma replied, "You should protect the ocean by all means." Some of the created beings responded by saying, "We shall protect," while others said, "We shall eat." So it says, "We shall protect" became Rakshas, and while others said, "We shall eat" became Yakshas. Lord Brahma then proclaimed that the former group would be known as Rakshasas, and the latter would be Yakshas. Therefore, there were two leaders of the Rakshasas named Heti and Praheti. Praheti was naturally inclined towards virtue. Thus he retired to the forest to perform austerities. Heti wanted to marry, and on his own initiative married Bhaya, Yama's sister. Also being the sister of Kala, Bhaya was a most fearsome personality. Through her, Heti begot a son named Vidyutkesha. When Vidyutkesha grew up, Heti arranged for his marriage to the daughter of Sandhya, named Salakatankata. Later on, Salakatankata gave birth to a son on the slopes of Mount Mandra. But since she had only desired to enjoy sex with her husband and not to bear a child, she abandoned the baby after delivery. When the neglected child began to cry, he was seen by Lord Shiva, who was passing by on his bull carrier along with his wife Parvati. At the request of the compassionate Uma, Lord Shiva made the child immediately grow up and benedicted him with immortality. Then, to further please his wife, Lord Shiva gave the child a flying city. Parvati also awarded a benediction to the entire Rakshasa race, saying, "Henceforth the women of your dynasty will deliver their babies at the time of conception, and upon birth the children will immediately grow up to become the size of the mother." Wow. After receiving these benedictions, Sukesha, the son of Tankata, and Vidyutkesha became very arrogant and began roaming at will in his airplane. Considering Sukesha's opulence, the Gandharva named Gramani gave his beautiful daughter Devavati to him in marriage. Thereafter, Sukesha begot 3 sons by Devavati: Malyavan, Sumali, and Mali. Knowing their father had become powerful by obtaining benedictions, the 3 sons went to Mount Meru, determined to gain success by performance of severe austerities. The severe penances of the 3 sons of Sukesha became fearful for all living entities. Lord Brahma appeared before the 3 brothers to fulfill their desires and made them desist from their austerities. Thus, when Brahma offered them benedictions, the brothers replied, "O Lord, may we become long-lived and become so powerful that we will strike terror into the hearts of our enemies. Give us the ability to become invisible at will, and let us 3 always have love for each other." Lord Brahma granted his consent and departed. Due to their benedictions, Malyavan, Sumali, and Mali became so fearless that they began to harass the demigods and the demons alike. Enlivened by their leader's prowess, the Rakshasas approached Vishwakarma in a group, requesting him to build them a place equal to the demigods. Vishwakarma informed the Rakshasas of Lanka, surrounded by golden walls, which he had previously constructed under the order of Indra. Then, at Vishwakarma's urging, the Rakshasas took up their residence in that place. Soon thereafter, the Gandharva woman Narmada gave her 3 daughters in marriage to Malyavan, Sumali, and Mali. Through his wife, Malyavan begot many children, including Virupaksha and Durmukha. The wife of Sumali gave birth to Prahasta, Akampana, Dhumraksha, Supasva, and Prahasa. Through his wife, Mali begot Anala, Anila, Hara, and Sampati, who became Vibhishana's 4 ministers. All these offspring became proud like their fathers and began to harass the demigods. Finally, the demigods and rishis went to Lord Shiva and complained that the descendants of Sukesha were practically driving them out of heaven. When the demigods and rishis requested Lord Shiva to kill the 3 Rakshasas, however, he replied, "Due to Lord Brahma's benedictions, the sons of Sukesha are immune to death by my hands. Therefore, I suggest you approach Lord Vishnu, the supreme infallible person." Thereafter, the demigods and rishis went to see Lord Vishnu, the master of everyone and the supreme personality of Godhead. After offering their obeisances, the demigods prayed, "My dear Lord, we are your eternal servants, and you are our eternal master. Because we desire the welfare of all living entities, we are busily engaged in the management of universal affairs. O Lord, you are our only shelter. Thus we have come to inform you of our plight. The sons of Sukesha, namely Malyavan, Sumali, and Mali, have become invincible by the benedictions of Lord Brahma and are harassing us greatly. Even Lord Shiva has refused to fight them. Thus we are now forced to approach your lotus feet for protection." Lord Vishnu replied, "My dear demigods and great rishis, do not fear. I know about Sukesha's sons. Because they have proudly overstepped the boundaries of propriety, I have already decided to kill them." Being thus restored to confidence, the demigods again offered prayers of glorification and departed for their respective abodes. Soon Malyavan came to learn of Lord Vishnu's assurance to the demigods that he would kill him and his brothers. Malyavan went to consult with Sumali and Mali. Malyavan said, "Since Lord Vishnu has already killed Hiranyakashipu, Kalanemi, and many other powerful demons, he must be exceedingly difficult to conquer." Sumali and Mali replied, "There is no need for us to fear anyone, even Lord Vishnu. Indeed, Lord Vishnu has no personal enmity with us. He has simply been poisoned by the words of the demigods. Therefore, let us kill the demigods in retaliation, for they are our real enemies." Coming to this conclusion, all the Rakshasas left Lanka to fight with the demigods. While they were en route to heaven, however, many evil omens manifested, indicating the imminent destruction of the Rakshasas. When Lord Vishnu heard that Malyavan was leading an attack on the demigods, he quickly took up his saranga bow and other weapons and mounted the back of his carrier Garuda. As the Lord approached, part of the Rakshasa army was blown away by the fierce wind generated by Garuda's flapping wings. Regardless, thousands of other Rakshasas took courage and surrounded Lord Vishnu, attacking him with innumerable weapons. With his saranga bow, the Lord dispersed the enemy soldiers by releasing showers of arrows that issued forth at the speed of the mind. After thousands of Rakshasas had fallen mangled upon the battlefield, Lord Vishnu blew his transcendental conch shell, the Panchajanya. Upon hearing that terrible sound, the surviving Rakshasas began running away in fear. Sumali then angrily rushed forward and with a shower of arrows appeared to check Lord Vishnu. This caused the Rakshasas behind him to become enlivened, and they rallied again. Elated at his success, Sumali roared with delight. Just then, however, Lord Vishnu cut off the head of Sumali's charioteer, making the horses carry him wildly away from the battlefield. Mali then rushed forward, pierced the Lord with thousands of arrows. However, without being the least bit pained, Lord Vishnu responded with his own volley of arrows, forcing Mali to retreat from the battlefield. While driving Mali off, Lord Vishnu cut off his flag, broke his bow, killed his horses, deprived him of his chariot. Mali then grabbed his club and jumped to the ground. He rushed forward and violently struck Garuda on the forehead. Feeling acute pain, Garuda turned away from the blow. Thus Lord Vishnu was also forced to turn his back on the enemy. Upon witnessing Mali's wonderful feat, the Rakshasa warriors roared in delight. However, hearing the Rakshasa's jubilant reaction, Lord Vishnu became enraged. Thus, even though facing backwards, he released his Sudarshan Chakra. The blazing disc then swiftly severed Mali's head. Upon seeing the death of his brother, Sumali and Malyavan became overwhelmed with grief and turned back towards Lanka. Thereafter, as the demigods came to congratulate Lord Vishnu in great happiness, Garuda recovered and began dispersing the remaining Rakshasas by flapping his wings. Many of the Rakshasa soldiers thus fell from the sky into the sea. Upon seeing their plight, Malyavan turned back and challenged, "O Vishnu, you appear to be ignorant of the rules of combat, for you are attacking those who have given up their intent to fight. Please stay on the battlefield a while longer so I may punish you for your wicked behavior." Lord Narayana replied, "Your accusation is unjust. I am merely making good my promise to give protection to the demigods, and I shall keep my promise at all costs." At this, Malyavan hurled a great spear. However, when it pierced his chest, Lord Vishnu merely pulled it out and threw it back at the Rakshasa. When the spear hit Malyavan's chest, it shattered the Rakshasa's armor, making him faint on his chariot. Malyavan, however, soon recovered and quickly hurled a club that hit the Lord's chest. Then, coming very close by, Malyavan struck Lord Vishnu on the chest with his mighty fist and began beating Garuda. The enraged Garuda then quickly drove Malyavan away with a blast of air from his wings. Seeing his brother's plight, Sumali flew back towards Lanka, with the ashamed Malyavan following. Thereafter, because of their fear of Lord Vishnu, the Rakshasas gave up their residence at Lanka and entered the nether regions. Agastya continued, "Malyavan, Sumali and Mali were more powerful than Ravana and the other Rakshasas that were killed by you. However, since the Rakshasas you faced in battle were all descendants of Pulasya, they were incomparably strong. Therefore, my dear Rama, it can only be concluded that you are none other than Lord Narayana himself, for no one else could have killed these Rakshasas." Agastya concluded, "While Sumali wandered throughout the netherworld in fear of Lord Vishnu, Vaishravana took up his residence at Lanka under his father's order. Some time later, Sumali took his beautiful daughter with him and left the lower regions to wander the earth in search of a suitable husband for her. It so happened that one day Sumali saw Vaishravana flying overhead in his Pushpaka chariot. Sumali was struck with wonder upon seeing the celestial vehicle. Soon he returned to the nether regions to ponder on the fate of the Rakshasa race's welfare. Then, coming to a firm decision, Sumali called for his daughter Kaikashi. He requested her to accept Vishrava as her husband. Thereafter, Kaikashi obediently went to Vishrava's residence and stood shyly before him, her head bent downward as she scratched the ground with her toes. It happened that Vishrava was in the midst of performing a horse sacrifice, and Kaikashi did not realize that she had approached at an inauspicious time. Still, the magnanimous sage inquired, "My dear young girl, who are you? What is your purpose in coming here?" Kaikashi replied, "I am the daughter of Sumali, and my name is Kaikashi. Whatever else you may wish to know, I request that you ascertain by your spiritual prowess." Vishrava then entered into a meditation, and after reading Kaikashi's mind, he said, "I can understand that you desire to receive sons from me. Your wish may be granted, but because you have approached me at an inauspicious time, your sons will become fierce Rakshasas." Kaikashi replied, "I do not wish to have such sons from you. Therefore, please be merciful unto me." Vishrava then granted, "As a concession, your youngest son will come to be famous as a pious man." In due course of time, Kaikashi gave birth to a hideous child with 10 heads and 20 arms, a huge mouth and long teeth. At the time of his birth, the earth trembled, meteors fell from the sky, and fierce winds blew, bringing terror to the hearts of all living beings. Because of his 10 heads, Vishrava named the child Dashagriva. Then, after some time, Kumbhakarna was born. The child possessed the largest body on earth. After Kumbhakarna came a daughter named Surpanakha, who had a very ugly face. The last child was Vibhishana. When this noble son was born, the demigods uttered exclamations of joy and showered down flowers from heaven. Thereafter, Kumbhakarna wandered all over the universe, devouring rishis, while Vibhishana engaged himself in studying the Vedas. Then one day, Kuvera came to see his father while riding in the Pushpaka chariot. When Kaikashi saw Vaishravana, she urged her own son, Dashagriva, to become as powerful and glorious as his half-brother. Hearing these words from his mother, Dashagriva became envious of Kuvera, vowing to become greater than him in all respects. Then, with his mind fixed on performing severe austerities, Dashagriva set out for the holy site of Gokarna along with his younger brothers. Dashagriva began executing unprecedented austerities. Because of this, Lord Brahma became very pleased with him and his brothers. At this time, Rama again interrupted politely, saying, O foremost of rishis, please describe in detail exactly what austerities these three brothers performed. Agastya replied, Kumbhakarna lit fires all around him during the heat of summer, while in the winter he remained submerged in cold water. In this way he passed 10,000 years without wavering from his determination. Vibhishana stood on one leg for 5,000 years, and for another for 5,000 years. He kept his arms above his head while worshipping the sun god. Dashagriva went without food for the entire 10,000 years, and at the end of each 1,000-year period he gave one of his heads as an offering into the sacrificial fire. Indeed, it was just when Dashagriva was about to offer his last head in sacrifice that Lord Brahma appeared to reward him for his austerities. When he saw Lord Brahma standing before him, Dashagriva bowed down with great respect. Then, when Lord Brahma urged him to accept a benediction, Dashagriva replied in a voice choked with joy, O my lord, I only have one fear, and that is death. Therefore, please fulfill my desire by granting me the boon of immortality. One second. However, Lord Brahma replied, It is not possible for anyone within the material creation to have absolute immortality. Even I shall one day have to die. Thus I request you to ask for something else. Dashagriva begged, Please grant me immunity from the death at hands of the Nagas, Yakshas, Daityas, Danavas, Rakshasas, and demigods. I do not require immunity from others like human beings and animals, for I consider them to be no more of a threat than the straw in the street. Lord Brahma then declared, I shall grant you all that you have asked for. Likewise, the heads you have previously offered in sacrifice will be restored. I will also give you one more benediction, allowing you to assume any form you like, simply by willing. Lord Brahma then said to Vibhishana, You may also accept a benediction from me according to your desire. Vibhishana replied, My lord, since you are pleased with me, the goal of my life has already been achieved. My only wish is that my mind may always remain steadily fixed upon the path of virtue, even amidst the greatest difficulties. In addition, if you so desire, please grant that the knowledge of the Brahmastra appears to me upon command, even though untaught. Being very pleased, Lord Brahma replied, Since you are by nature inclined towards righteousness, although born a Rakshasa, I shall grant you immortality on the level of the chief demigods. Next, when Lord Brahma was about to offer Kumbhakarna a benediction, all the demigods accompanying him pleaded with folded hands, This Rakshasa is evil-minded. He has already devoured 7 apsaras and 10 attendants of Indra, along with numerous rishis and human beings. His only business is to terrorize the entire universe. Since he has already created so much havoc without any benediction, we think that after he receives benedictions from you, he will surely devour 3 worlds. O Lord, we request you that you somehow cast a spell of delusion over Kumbhakarna on the pretext of granting a benediction. After carefully considering the demigod's request, Lord Brahma mentally summoned his consort, the goddess Saraswati, who came to his side. When the goddess inquired, Of what service can I be, Lord? Brahma replied, I want you to become the speech within Kumbhakarna's mouth. Thus it so happened that when Lord Brahma requested Kumbhakarna to take a benediction, the gigantic Rakshasa replied, If you wish to fulfill my desire, then allow me to sleep for many, many years. Lord Brahma immediately replied, Let it be so. And then, just as the universal grandsire was about to depart with the goddess Saraswati and the demigods, Kumbhakarna came to his senses and wondered, How did these disastrous words come out from my mouth? I must have been bewildered by the demigods. Thereafter the 3 brothers began to live happily within a forest. When Sumali learned that his 3 grandsons had received benedictions, he gave up all fear and came out from the nether regions. He was accompanied by his followers, including Maricha, Prahasta, Virupaksha, and Mahodra. Sumali immediately went to Dashagriva and embraced him, saying, By your mercy, our fear of Lord Vishnu, which caused us to flee Lanka, is now gone. Although Kuvera is now occupying the kingdom of Lanka, it originally belonged to the Rakshasas. Therefore, my dear grandson, you should approach your half-brother and take back your rightful kingdom by request, gift, or if necessary, by force. If you can retrieve Lanka, then I promise to make you the king of the Rakshasas. However, Dashagriva replied, My dear maternal grandfather, you should not speak like this, for Kuvera is my elder half-brother. Being so admonished, Sumali remained silent. Later, Prahasta approached Dashagriva, saying, You should know that for great heroes there is no question of so-called brotherly feelings getting in the way of self-interest. My dear Dashagriva, you should not have criticized Sumali, for he truly gave you good advice. Just consider the sisters Diti and Aditi, who are both wives of Kashyapa and mothers to the demigods and the demons. Long ago, the Daityas controlled the universe. Then later, with the help of Lord Vishnu, the three worlds came under the control of the Adityas. Thus, O foremost of Rakshasas, you would not be the first to fight against your brother for sovereignty. In truth, the idea of conquering Lanka appealed to Dashagriva. After considering Prahasta's words for a time, he went with him to Trikuta. Dashagriva first employed Prahasta as his diplomat, who politely requested Kuvera to return Lanka to its rightful owners. However, after receiving Prahasta and hearing his proposal, Vaishravana replied, This place was given to me by my father, therefore I am unwilling to give it up. However, if Dashagriva likes, he may certainly come here and share Lanka with me, allowing us to live without enmity. After Prahasta's departure, Kuvera went to his father and explained Dashagriva's intentions. Vishrava then replied, Dashagriva has already come here asking me to give him the kingdom of Lanka. However, I harshly rebuked him for his greediness. I warned him that if he went ahead with his plan to conquer and displace you, he would ultimately meet with destruction. Because of receiving benedictions from Lord Brahma, Dashagriva has become too proud, and thus fails to discriminate between persons he should respect and those he need not. Now, due to my displeasure, he has become even more wicked-minded. Therefore, I recommend that you and your followers leave Lanka, take up residence in Kailasha, and avoid antagonizing your arrogant half-brother. Thereafter, Kuvera vacated Lanka. When Prahasta informed Dashagriva, he entered the city and began to rule as king, being installed upon the throne by the Rakshasas. Sometime later, Dashagriva gave his sister Surpanaka in marriage to the Danava king Vidyujhava. Once thereafter, while roaming in the forest, Dashagriva happened to meet Maya Danav and his daughter. When Dashagriva asked him how he had come there, Maya Danav explained, Long ago, the Apsara named Hema was given to me in marriage. Thereafter, I lived with her for thousands of years. Being very attached, I built a wonderful city for Hema, made of gold and jewels. However, 14 years ago, she left me to fulfill some purpose of the demigods. Overcome by grief, I left my beautiful city, and am now wandering the forest, hoping to find a suitable husband for my daughter. Besides this girl, I have begot 2 sons through Hema, Mayavi and Dundubi. Now, if I may ask, who are you, and what is your purpose in coming here? When Maya Danava learned that his new acquaintance was the son of an eminent rishi, he decided to give him his daughter in marriage. Thus, Mandodari married Dashagriva. Then Maya Danav gave his son-in-law the wonderful spear that he had acquired after executing great austerities, which was later used to severely wound Lakshmana. After some time, Dashagriva arranged for Vajravalya, Bali Maharaj's granddaughter, to marry Kumbhakarna, and the daughter of a Gandharva king to wed Vibhishana. Mandodari then gave birth to Meghanad, who later became known as Indrajit. Sometime later, drowsiness began overtaking Kumbhakarna because of Lord Brahma's curse. He then requested Dashagriva to build him a palace that was 16 miles long and 8 miles wide, with crystal and golden columns and stairways made of valuable gems. Thereafter, Kumbhakarna entered his palace and began sleeping for thousands of years. Meanwhile, the proud Dashagriva began killing demigods and rishis without restraint and destroying many of the heavenly pleasure gardens. Kuvera soon learnt of the degradation of his half-brother. Thus, out of family affection, he sent a messenger to Dashagriva, advising him to mend his evil ways, saying, Once I happened to see Lord Shiva and his wife seated on a mountain peak in the Himalayas, engaging in austerities. I was curious to see the goddess Uma, but as soon as my left eye fell upon her, it was immediately burnt, while my right eye turned grey. In fear, I quickly left the place and proceeded to perform austerities at another location in the Himalayas, hoping to appease Lord Shiva. Finally, after the passage of 800 years, Lord Shiva was pleased to appear before me and offer his sincere friendship. Although the vision in my left eye was fully restored, the Lord informed me that my right eye would forever have to remain grey. O Dashagriva, Upon my return home from performing these austerities, I came to learn of your misdeeds. Now, as your well-wisher and relative, I must warn you that the demigods are already planning to destroy you. You must rectify your behavior before it is too late. Upon hearing Kuvera's message, Dashagriva became inflamed with rage. He declared, "It was only out of respect for my elder half-brother that I have remained patient hearing these insults. However, because of this rebuke, I am now determined to not only conquer the 3 worlds, but to kill the 4 Lokapalas as well." Saying this, Dashagriva drew his sword and mercilessly struck down the messenger. Then, after feeding the messenger's body to the Rakshasas, Dashagriva mounted his chariot and started for the abode of Kuvera, followed by the 6 ministers, Mahodara, Prahasta, Maricha, Sukha, Sarana, and Dhumraksha. After flying through the sky for about 1 hour, Dashagriva came to Mount Kailasha. Thus, when the Yakshas saw the Rakshasas, they approached Kuvera and took his permission to fight. A fierce battle ensued. When it appeared that the Yakshas were getting the better of his ministers, Dashagriva took his club and began smashing the enemy. Then, when the surviving Yakshas came to Kuvera and informed him of their defeat, Kuvera sent out another army. The Rakshasas again emerged victorious, and Dashagriva then entered the abode of Kuvera. At the gate, a guard boldly blocked Dashagriva's entrance, and when Dashagriva attempted to push his way in, the guard smashed him over the head with a wooden post, causing him to bleed profusely. However, because of the benediction of Lord Brahma, Dashagriva could not be killed. He recovered and smashed the guard into a formless lump of flesh, causing the other Yakshas to flee in fear. Kuvera then sent forth his chief commander, Manibhadra, along with 4,000 Yaksha soldiers. During the battle that followed, Prastha soon killed 1,000 Yakshas, Mahodara killed 1,000, Maricha killed 2,000. Still, Manibhadra attacked Dhumraksha, making him fall down unconscious. Dashagriva then retaliated by striking Manibhadra's crown, forcing him to turn sideways. Just then, Kuvera appeared on the scene, club in hand. He was accompanied by 2 of his ministers, Sukra and Prausthapada, along with 2 deities that preside over wealth, Padma and Shanka. Kuvera challenged Dashagriva, saying, "Because you have proudly ignored all propriety and thus acted most sinfully, I shall soon send you to the hellish planets so you may receive what you deserve." As the Rakshasa ministers fled, losing heart after hearing their master chastised in this manner, Kuvera rushed forward and struck Dashagriva on the head with his club. Dashagriva, however, was not disturbed in the least, and the 2 continued to exchange blows. Finally, when neither could gain the upper hand, Dashagriva resorted to using Rakshasa illusions. He assumed different forms such as a tiger, a cloud, a hill, the sea, the Yaksha. Finally, Dashagriva struck Kuvera on the head with his gigantic club, causing the Lord of Wealth to fall unconscious, bleeding profusely. Then Padma, Shanka, and the other Yakshas quickly removed Kuvera from the battlefield, bringing him back to consciousness. Pleased with his victory, Dashagriva took possession of the Pushpaka chariot. He mounted it and set out for the palace of Kartikeya's birth, a clump of golden reeds in the Himalayas. Suddenly, however, the Pushpaka chariot stopped ascending the mountains and would proceed no further. Then, as Dashagriva stood with a look of amazement, Nandishvara suddenly appeared before him. This confidential servant of Lord Shiva was dwarfish, misshapen in appearance, bald, and altogether fearful to look at. Nandishvara ordered Dashagriva, "You must return back at once, for Lord Shankara is sporting on this mountain." At this, Dashagriva became enraged. While getting down from his chariot, he demanded, "Who is this Shankara?" Then as he looked up, Dashagriva saw Nandi with the face of a monkey, standing near Lord Shiva, holding a flaming spear in his hand. Upon seeing the bull carrier of Lord Shiva in this feature, Dashagriva laughed with great disdain. Nandi angrily cursed Dashagriva, saying, "In the future, powerful monkeys will take birth who will annihilate your entire race. I could kill you at once if I so desired, but I will let you be destroyed by your own misdeeds instead." Dashagriva did not care for Nandi's words, however, and replied, "Because you have rudely stopped my chariot, I shall now retaliate by killing your master, Lord Shankara." Dashagriva placed his hands underneath the mountain and began lifting it up. Then, as the mountain shook violently, Parvati stumbled and clung tightly to her lord. Mahadeva then pressed down the mountain with his big toe, crushing Dashagriva's arms beneath it. As Dashagriva cried out in pain, the entire 3 worlds trembled so much so that King Indra stumbled while walking on the road. Upon seeing their master's plight, Dashagriva's ministers advised him to take shelter of the Lord. Lord Shiva, also known as Ashutosha, because he is easily pleased. With no other alternative, Dashagriva bowed down and began glorifying Lord Mahadeva by reciting hymns from the Samaved. 1,000 years passed as Lord Shiva remained seated on top of the mountain. Then Mahadeva became pleased to relieve the pressure of his toe, so that Dashagriva could remove his arms. Because of the fierce cries uttered by Dashagriva when his arms were being crushed, Lord Shiva gave him the name Ravana. Thus, from the time forward, Dashagriva became known as Ravana, because his loud crying had made all the demigods also cry out in fear. Thereafter, Ravana began to wander over the earth on the Pushpaka chariot, challenging the heroic Kshatriyas. The prudent kings surrendered to Ravana without a fight. The Rakshasa king easily defeated all the others. One day, Ravana arrived at a forest near the Himalayas and saw a beautiful young girl with matted hair and a deer-skin dress. Upon seeing her, Ravana became afflicted by lust, and while laughing aloud, he exclaimed, "The practice of austerities in the forest is contradictory to your beautiful beauty, your youthful beauty. My dear young girl, who are you? Why have you decided to come here to live a life of penance?" The girl replied, "I am the daughter of the Brahma Rishi Kushadvaja, the son of Brihaspati. My name is Vedavati. Because I am considered to be an incarnation of the Vedas, many demigods and other highly qualified men have approached my father asking him for my hand in marriage. However, he has turned them all down, for he feels only Lord Vishnu would make a suitable son-in-law. When Shambhu, the king of Daityas, heard this, he came and killed my father in his sleep. My mother then entered the fire of cremation, carrying the body of her husband in her arms. Since that time, I have installed Lord Narayana within my heart and have performed austerities, hoping to attain him as my husband. O Ravana, by dint of my ascetic merit, I know everything about you. Therefore, please take your leave and depart without further ado." Getting down from his chariot, Ravana said, "My dear lovely girl, I request you to become my wife. Indeed, in comparison to me, who is Lord Vishnu?" At this, Vedavati indignantly replied, "Who other than you would dare speak disrespectfully of Lord Narayana?" As she spoke, Ravana grabbed Vedavati by the hair. Inflamed with rage, the girl immediately transformed one of her arms into a sword and cut off her hair, thus setting herself free. Then, while lighting a fire, Vedavati said, "After being touched by you, I no longer desire to live. I shall not curse you, for that would decrease my ascetic merit. However, I shall take another birth in a divine manner, just to encompass your destruction." As Vedavati entered the fire, flowers showered down upon her from heaven. Then, giving up her body, Vedavati next appeared from a lotus flower. Ravana, however, quickly caught her and forced her onto the Pushpak chariot and took her back to Lanka. Thereafter, when Ravana showed the reborn Vedavati to his ministers, he was warned that if he kept the girl, she would become the instrument of his destruction. Taking heed, Ravana threw Vedavati into the sea. Then, upon reaching the other shore, by employing her mystic powers, she came to the sacrificial ground of King Janaka. As King Janaka was levelling the ground with a plough, the girl appeared from the furrow as a baby. Thus it came to be that Vedavati, who had appeared in Satyuga, became Janaki in Treta Yuga. Ravana continued to roam over the earth in the Pushpaka chariot, until one day he arrived at a place called Ushirbhija. There he saw King Marutta engaged in a sacrificial performance under the direction of the Brahma Rishi Samvratana, a brother of Brihaspati. All the demigods were present in the sacrificial arena, but out of fear of Ravana, they transformed themselves into animals. Indra became a peacock, Kuvera became a chameleon, Yamraj became a crow, and Varuna became a swan. After entering the sacrificial arena like an unclean dog, Ravana approached King Marutta and challenged, "Either you fight with me or surrender." Marutta inquired, "Who are you? What do you want from me?" Ravana laughed derisively, saying, "I am the younger half-brother of Kuvera. My name is Ravana, and I have already defeated my illustrious relative in battle." Marutta sarcastically replied, "As the conqueror of your elder brother, you are certainly very virtuous. Therefore, I consider you most worthy of being pierced by my arrows." Marutta angrily grabbed his bow, rushing at the king of Rakshasas. Samvartana, however, blocked his disciples' way, saying, "This sacrifice performed for Lord Shiva is not yet complete. My dear king, if it is spoilt, this glorious sacrifice will become the cause of destruction for your entire dynasty. Ravana is very difficult to conquer. Moreover, one who has been sanctified for a sacrificial performance should never become angry or engage in fighting." Becoming pacified, King Marutta threw aside his bow. As he again sat down, Ravana proceeded to devour many of the rishis who had come to attend the ceremony. Only after Ravana's departure did the demigods resume their normal features. Indra then benedicted the peacocks to never again fear snakes. He also made marks appear on the peacocks' formerly all blue bodies to resemble his 1,000 eyes. Thus, whenever Indra showers down rain, the peacocks dance as a symbol of their love for him. Yamaraj benedicted the crows to no longer contract the diseases common to other living entities. Additionally, the crows were granted that they would live for as long as humans did not kill them. Now, when crows are fed, people residing in the abode of Yamaraj become satisfied by that act. Formerly, swans were not all white. However, by the benediction of Varuna, they became white as foam and began enjoying great pleasure sporting in the water. Lastly, Kuvera blessed the chameleon with a golden complexion. Thereafter, the demigods departed to their abodes. Ravana continued challenging great kings to fight or surrender unto him. Many prominent rulers accepted defeat without a fight. One day, Ravana came to Ayodhya, and when he challenged Maharaj Anarnya, the king came out of his capital with a huge army. Although Anarnya's army was completely massacred by the Rakshasas, the king himself was able to seriously wound Maricha, Sukha, Sarana, and Prahasta, forcing them to flee from the battlefield. Maharaj Anarnya then proceeded to shower 800 arrows upon Ravana's head, but the Rakshasa king was not even slightly injured from the attack. Ravana rushed forward quickly and struck Anarnya on the head with his hand, causing him to fall to the ground fatally wounded. As the king lay dying, he cursed Ravana, saying, "In the future, a descendant in my dynasty named Rama will become the cause of your destruction." While the king uttered this oath, flowers showered down from heaven, and the demigods could be heard beating their celestial drums. As King Anarnya gave up his body, Ravana left the place. Thereafter, one day, Ravana happened to meet the great sage Narada while traveling through the sky. Ravana greeted him most politely, and in turn, Narada praised the exploits of the Rakshasa monarch. Narada said, "O king, since you are so powerful that you can conquer even the great demigods, why are you trying to annihilate the human beings? The poor humans do not deserve to be killed by you, for they are already most unfortunate, being plagued with so many miseries of life." Ravana replied, "O sage, what you say is correct. Since I desire to conquer over the entire three worlds, I shall now leave aside these human beings and attack Yamaraj, the lord of death." Making up his mind in this way, Ravana immediately departed for the southern quarter. Narada's curiosity was aroused. He wondered, can Ravana actually defeat Yamaraj? If he does, I wonder what sort of universal order he will institute to replace the old one. Thus, to witness the impending battle, Narada quickly went to the abode of Yamaraj, arriving before Ravana. The Lord of Death greeted Narada and inquired, "O best of the celestial rishis, what is the object of your visit?" Narada replied, "Ravana is on his way here, desiring to defeat you in battle." As the Pushpaka chariot entered the domain of Yamaraj, Ravana could see how all the living entities were reaping the results of their previous pious and impious activities. Some poor souls were suffering various hellish torments, while others were enjoying a high standard of material comfort. Then, by his own prowess, Ravana freed all those who were suffering in hell. Enraged at this audacious act, thousands of Yamadutas attacked Ravana and attempted to demolish the Pushpaka chariot. However, regardless of being attacked so viciously, the chariot remained intact due to the prowess of Lord Brahma. When the Yamadutas showered their arrows upon Ravana, his armor became smashed, his limbs became pierced all over. Covered with his own blood, Ravana finally began losing consciousness and fell from the Pushpaka chariot to the ground. However, after quickly recovering, Ravana took up an arrow of Lord Shiva and with it began annihilating all the Yamadutas. At this, Ravana and his ministers began roaring loudly. And when Yamaraj heard the uproar, he could understand that the Rakshasa king had emerged victorious. After calling for his chariot, Yamaraj took up his rod of death nooses, and other weapons, and angrily set out to fight. When Yamaraj entered the battlefield, the entire three worlds became agitated, and Ravana's ministers became so overwhelmed with fear that they began to flee in all directions. Ravana, however, remained undisturbed, and as Yamaraj approached, Ravana deluded him with arrows. The fierce duel that ensued went on for 7 days and nights uninterrupted. The king of the Rakshasas then released 100,000 arrows, and at that time, death personified, begged Yamaraj, "O Lord, please grant me permission to kill Ravana. I caused the destruction of the entire cosmic manifestation. Thus, what will be the difficulty in slaying an entity like Ravana?" Yamaraj, however, wished to kill Ravana himself, and as a last resort took up his rod of death. As soon as they saw this terrible weapon, all the Rakshasas, except Ravana, turned and ran away. Lord Brahma then hastily appeared before Yamaraj, while remaining unseen by all others. He said, O Lord of Death, please do not nullify the benedictions that I have awarded Ravana. If you release this rod of death, it will not only destroy your enemy, but it will kill all created beings too. Therefore, please give up your intention. Yamaraj yielded to the authority of Lord Brahma and then made himself invisible, since there is no point in continuing the fight. Ravana departed, thinking himself victorious. Thereafter he entered the ocean and descended to the lower planetary systems. Ravana then conquered Bhogavati, the capital of the Nagas, ruled over by Vasuki. After this he went to attack Manimai, a city made from gems where the Nivatakavachas resided. Then these Danavas had also received benedictions from Lord Brahma, and when Ravana challenged them to fight, they were happy to oblige him. The Danavas and the Rakshasas fought for 1 full year, but neither could gain the upper hand. Finally, Lord Brahma came to stop the fighting and advised the two parties to establish an alliance of friendship. Thus Ravana spent the next years as Danava's guest, and during that time he learned 100 conjuring tricks from them. From Manimai, Ravana went to Rasatala, searching for Varuna's abode. When in the course of his wanderings he came to the city called Ashmanagara, Ravana defeated the Kalakeyas residing there, and during the battle accidentally cut to pieces his brother-in-law Vidyudshava. After some time, Ravana finally sighted the abode of Varuna, and then he came upon the Surabhi cow, whose milk created the great ocean of milk. After circumambulating Surabhi, Ravana entered Varuna's city. Thereafter, announcing his challenge in the waters, he killed all the warriors that came to oppose him. Incited with rage, Varuna's sons and grandsons came out with a large army, but they were soon routed by Ravana's ministers. Having retreated, Varuna's sons again came out to fight, this time rising into the air on their chariots, showering Ravana with their arrows, forcing Ravana to turn his face away from the battle. Mahodara then killed all the horses of Varuna's sons, making their chariots fall to the ground. Still the sons of Varuna remained airborne by dint of their mystic powers, and continued to fight with Ravana, seated upon the Pushpaka chariot. After driving off Mahodara, the sons of Varuna surrounded Ravana and again assaulted him with torrents of arrows. Ravana suddenly flared up with rage. He pierced Varuna's sons with his weapons, and they fell to the ground wounded. As Varuna's sons were being carried away from the battlefield by their own men, Ravana ordered one of Varuna's ministers, Go, convey my challenge to your master. Now that his sons are vanquished, let the Lord of the waters himself come out to fight. The ministers informed Ravana, Varuna has gone to Brahmaloka to attend a concert given by the Gandharvas. Therefore, O king of Rakshasas, please be satisfied that you have defeated Varuna's sons. Ravana soon returned to Lanka. Along the way, he kidnapped the virgin daughters of many kings, rishis, demigods, and demons. If Ravana saw any girl that he found attractive, he would first kill all of her relatives and then forcibly take her with him on his chariot. In this way, Ravana's chariot became filled with hundreds of girls, all crying out pitifully from fear and grief. The bereaved girls considered their plight and cursed Ravana, saying, May the destruction of this wicked Rakshasa come about because of a woman. As soon as the girls uttered these words, flowers fell from the heavens and celestial drums resounded in the sky. Thus cursed by the virtuous women, Ravana's bodily luster immediately began to fade. Shortly after Ravana's return to Lanka, Surpanaka came and fell down at her brother's feet. With tears in her eyes, she wailed, Oh, how cruel you are to your sister! By killing my husband, you have made me a widow! Remember, when he was fighting in the previous page, he says, accidentally he cut to pieces his brother-in-law, Vidyudshava. So now Surpanaka is there. To pacify Surpanaka, Ravana replied, My dear sister, please do not give way to grief. I promise to gratify all your desires. Please forgive me, for in the heat of battle I could not distinguish between friend or enemy. Thus I accidentally killed Vidyudshava. Ravana sent Surpanaka to live under the protection of her cousin Kara. He also dispatched an army of 14,000 Rakshasas so that his brother could firmly establish his supremacy in the Dandaka Aranya forest. Ravana then went to his sacrificial arena at the Dikumbila grove, where he saw his son Meghanada wearing a deer skin. With surprise, Ravana inquired, My dear boy, what are you doing? Meghnad was engaged in performing a sacrifice. Thus, to ensure that his vow of silence was not broken, Ushana, the family priest, replied on his behalf, In your absence, Meghanad has already performed 7 great sacrifices for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. Thus he has received a celestial chariot and various weapons from Lord Shiva. He has also gained the power to become invisible and to create darkness within the enemy's ranks. Ravana was not very pleased to hear of his son's activities, for he had worshipped one of his enemies, Lord Vishnu. When Vibhishana learned that Ravana had kidnapped so many girls, he approached his brother and said, "This act of yours is very sinful and is unfit for a member of our good family. Already, as a reaction to your wickedness, your mother's cousin Kumbinashi has been kidnapped by Rakshasa Madhu." Kumbinashi was the unmarried daughter of Malyavan, the uncle of Ravana's mother Kaikashi, who was residing in Ravana's palace in his absence. When Ravana heard about Kumbinashi's abduction, he flared with rage and prepared to kill the offender at once. Calling together all his Rakshasa chiefs, Ravana left Lanka with 4,000 Akshohinis, for he intended to attack the demigods after dealing with Madhu. When Meghananda at the front and Kumbhakarna at the rear, Ravana entered Madhu's city. His mother's cousin quickly came out to meet him and fell at Ravana's feet. He thus assured her, "I shall do whatever you request of me. Please get up. There is nothing to fear." Kumbinashi then begged Ravana to spare her husband. The Rakshasa king replied, "Yes, it shall be so. Now let Madhu come forward, for I want him to accompany me in my conquest of the demigods." Kumbinashi awakened her husband and informed him that Ravana had come to solicit his help in conquering the demigods. Madhu immediately came and paid his respects to Ravana, and the next morning the Rakshasa army departed. Ravana reached Kailasha just as the sun was setting, and he had his army make camp there. While sitting at leisure on top of the hill, Ravana surveyed the beautiful forests and lakes that served as the demigods' sporting grounds. Indeed, he could hear the singing of Apsaras coming from Kuvera's palace. The entire atmosphere was extremely pleasing and enhanced by fragrant breezes. At that time, the Apsara Ramba chanced to pass by. When Ravana saw Ramba's beautiful bodily features, enhanced by her attractive dress and tinkling ornaments, he became so lusty that he immediately jumped from his seat and grabbed her by the hand. Pierced by Cupid's arrows, Ravana said, "Oh, exquisitely beautiful one, your sweet, smiling face, your full, well-rounded breasts, and your shapely hips and thighs have combined together to steal away my mind. Now that I have seen you, I cannot bear to let you go. Who is there superior to me, and that you are now on your way to meet? Accept me as your husband and remain with me. It will surely be a waste of your incomparable beauty to have it enjoyed by anyone else." Ramba, however, angrily replied, "You should not speak to me like this, for you are just like my father, and I your daughter-in-law." Ravana then argued, "Only the wife of one's son can be considered to be a daughter-in-law." At this, Ramba countered, "Yes, what you say is correct, since you should know that I am the lawful wife of your brother's son, Nalakuvera, and I am on the way to meet him now. Therefore, O king of Rakshasas, please follow the path of righteousness and let me go at once." Not interested in good advice, Ravana replied, "Your reasoning only applies to women who have one husband. However, since the Apsaras have no actual husbands, just as the demigods are not committed to a single wife, I do not have to consider you in the light of such morality." Saying this, Ravana forcibly pulled Ramba down onto a flat rock and began copulating with her. When she was finally released, her hair and dress disheveled, Ramba ran to her husband Nalakuvera and told him everything that had happened. Upon hearing of Ravana's misconduct, Nalakuvera became outraged. Then, to verify Ramba's story, he entered into a trance of meditation. Thereafter, having ascertained the truth of the matter, Nalakuvera touched water and pronounced the following curse: "The head of Ravana will split into 7 pieces if he ever again tries to enjoy a woman against her will." The demigods were overjoyed to hear this declaration and showered flowers down upon Kuvera's son. Similarly, when the women at Lanka, kidnapped by Ravana, heard of Nalakuvera's oath, they too experienced great happiness. And when Ravana heard of the curse, he gave up all inclination to have sexual relationships with women who were not inclined towards him. The next morning, Ravana mobilized his army and approached the abode of Indra. The king of heaven, being afraid of Ravana, became dejected upon seeing the army of Rakshasas approaching. Indra quickly set out all the demigods to fight and then approached Lord Vishnu. After offering his obeisances to the Lord, Indra explained, "Because of Lord Brahma's benedictions, I feel helpless in battling Ravana. My dear Lord, I request that you either empower me with sufficient energy to kill the Rakshasa king, or else take up this matter by yourself." Lord Vishnu reassured Indra, "There is no need for you to be afraid. Go and fight with Ravana, even though it is not possible for you to conquer him. I do not wish to kill him just now. However, please know that when the time is right, I shall slay not only the wicked Rakshasa king, but all of his relatives too." Thereafter, a fierce battle ensued between the demigods and Rakshasas, supported by their allies, the Danavas. Ravana's maternal grandfather, Sumali, led the Rakshasa army and soon routed the demigod soldiers. Then Savitra, the 8th Vasu, suddenly entered the battlefield, striking fear into the hearts of the Rakshasas. After destroying Sumali's chariot, Savitra picked up the Rakshasa's mace and smashed it over his head, striking him down dead. Being leaderless, the Rakshasa soldiers began to flee. Meghanad then came forward, and the powerful son of Ravana began to scatter the demigods. Indra, however, admonished the fleeing warriors and sent forth his own son, Jayanta, to fight. An equally matched duel thus began between the two princes. However, when Meghanad resorted to creating darkness on the battlefield through his mystic potency, Jayanta became ill at ease. In the darkness, the fighting became gruesome and confused. Puloma, ruler of the Daityas and father of Sachi, the wife of Indra, came and forcibly grabbed his grandson by the hair, dragging him away from the battlefield for his own protection. Puloma drove deep into the sea with Jayanta. Seeing that Jayanta was gone, the demigods panicked and ran away. Indra then immediately called for his chariot and went out to join the battle, surrounded by other Adityas. A fierce wind began blowing. Huge meteors streaked across the sky. Inspired by Indra's presence, the demigods slaughtered the Rakshasas, so that eventually only 1/10 of their forces remained alive. Kumbhakarna was also wounded by the combined attack of the Rudras and other celestials. Now, highly enraged, Ravana began penetrating the ranks of the enemy army and approached the heavenly king Indra. As the two rulers proceeded to shower their arrows upon each other, darkness set in, bewildering everyone but Indra, Ravana, and Meghanad. Ravana was determined to destroy all the demigods. Indra understood that he could not kill the Rakshasa king, and thus advised his warriors to capture him instead. Ravana suddenly rushed at Indra, but the king of heaven drove him back with a torrent of weapons. Then the fear-stricken Rakshasas considered themselves to be defeated. Meghnad was outraged, and thus invisibly entered the demigod army and came before the heavenly king. Sending forth incessant streams of arrows, Meghnad was able to exhaust Indra, and thereupon bound him up by mystic power that he had acquired from Lord Brahma. Seeing how Ravana was being overpowered by the demigods, the invincible Meghnad announced to his father, "You should retreat from the battle, for I have already taken Indra captive. Since victory is yours, there is no need to continue fighting." Hearing this, the demigods became disheartened and at once desisted from battle. Ravana then instructed Meghnad, "Go ahead of me and take Indra to Lanka. I will join you there shortly." In this way, Indra, the king of heavens, became a prisoner of the Rakshasas within their capital city, Lanka. Lord Brahma then took all the demigods with him and went to Lanka. While remaining stationed in the sky, the universal grandsire addressed Ravana as follows: "The prowess and valor exhibited by your son is wonderful indeed. Because of his dramatic victory over the king of heaven, let Meghnad from this day onward be known as Indrajit. O king of Rakshasas, I request you to release Indra. In exchange, I shall reward your son with an incomparable benediction." Indrajit exclaimed, "I shall give up Indra for the boon of immortality." Lord Brahma, however, replied, "It is not possible for any of the created beings to have unconditional immortality. Therefore, my dear prince, ask for something else." Isn't it amazing how many times we've read this request for immortality and how many times poor Brahma has to repeat the same thing and say, "It's not possible." So Indrajit says, "As an alternative, grant me the following. At the time of battle, if I offer oblations into the sacrificial fire, according to Vedic injunctions, let a huge chariot emerge from the flames. Then as long as I remain seated upon that chariot, let me be immune to death. Thus, only if I engage in battle without having finished the chanting of the mantras and offering of oblations, will I be subject to destruction. Some people seek immortality through the performance of charities, but I have acquired it simply by exhibiting my prowess." Lord Brahma granted Indrajit's request, and in return the Rakshasas released Indra. After this incident, Indra became morose, and his bodily luster faded. Lord Brahma approached him and asked, "What grievous sin did you commit in the past that is now causing you to suffer so much?" Without waiting for Indra to reply, the all-knowing Brahma narrated the following story. In the beginning of creation, there was only one type of human being. There was no distinction in their bodily features. Then, to create diversity and to increase the population, I created the first woman, giving her the name Ahalya, which means one who does not possess even the slightest ugliness. While contemplating whose partner this girl would be, I kept her in the care of Gautama Rishi for many years. O Indra, during this time you confidently assumed that I would give Ahalya to you as a consort. However, when Gautama later returned the girl to me, I was so impressed by his self-control. I decided that Ahalya could become his wife. All the demigods, especially yourself, were upset by my decision. Thus, becoming overcome by lust and anger, you went to Gautama's ashrama, and when you saw the beautiful Ahalya, you forcibly raped her. After your departure, Gautama came to know of your sinful act. Thus, in great anger, he cursed you, saying, "One day, O lusty king of heavens, you will be captured by your enemies while fighting on the battlefield." Furthermore, when this abominable act that you have initiated becomes prevalent in human society, anyone who commits this sin will get only half of the reaction, and you will get the other half. Thus, from now on, your position as a king of heaven will never be secure, not only for you, but for all future Indras too. After chastising Indra, Gautama cursed his wife for her infidelity, saying, "From now on, you must remain in this ashram as a stone pillar. Additionally, you will no longer have the distinction of being the only woman. All other women will receive a share of your beauty." Ahalya then pleaded, "My dear husband, Indra came here disguised as you and then forcibly raped me. Please be merciful upon me. I am faultless." Gautama then informed his wife, "In the future, Lord Vishnu will take birth in the Ishvaku dynasty, and he will be known as Rama. In the course of performing his transcendental pastimes, he will come here in the company of Vishwamitra. By seeing Lord Rama and offering him your hospitality, you will become free from my curse and be reinstated as my wife." Brahma continued, "My dear Indra, you should know that all of your present difficulties are due to the curse of Gautama. To counteract the effects of that curse, I suggest that you perform a sacrifice to please Lord Vishnu. In this way, you will become purified and thus be able to return to your post in heaven. Now, there is one more thing you may know from me. Your son has been taken away by Puloma and is being kept deep within the ocean." Thereafter, following Lord Brahma's instructions, Indra regained his heavenly position and became free from all anxieties. While hearing about the extraordinary prowess of Indrajit, Rama and Lakshmana uttered exclamations of great wonder. Then Rama again inquired, "O best of rishis, was there ever an instance of a Kshatriya who defeated Ravana?" So this is a conversation for those who joined in and are not understanding why we are in some other part of the Ramayana. We are on the Uttarakanda. We finished the part where Rama returns home and he is ruling Ayodhya, and we reach the point at which what happens after. So in Uttarakand, Rama is sitting and listening to the great rishis who have come to offer their, who have come to see him and offer their blessings, and they are telling him all the stories, all the background stories of all these characters he has encountered during the Ramayana. And we are at a point where we understood the story of Ravana, and now we are on Indrajit. And this is a story within a story within a story, just like the Srimad Bhagavatam. So having heard of this story and having heard from Indra, we're back to the main story of Rama listening to these rishis. And that is why he's asking, "O best of the rishis, was there ever an instance of a Kshatriya who defeated Ravana?" Agastya replied, "Once while wandering over the earth, Ravana came to the city of Mahishmati, ruled by Kartyavirya Arjuna, king of the Haihayas. That day, Kartyavirya Arjuna had gone to the river Narmada to enjoy himself in the water with many attractive women. Thus, when Ravana inquired from a minister about Kartyavirya Arjuna's whereabouts, he was informed that the king had gone out. Ravana departed, and after going to the Vindhya mountains, he came to the banks of the Narmada. Stepping down from the Pushpaka chariot, Ravana sat down on the shore with his ministers and said, 'This holy river is very glorious. You should all take a ritualistic bath to relieve yourselves of all the sinful reactions. Meanwhile, I shall engage in the worship of Lord Shiva. Bring me some flowers for an offering.' While the ministers looked for mountain flowers for Ravana's offering, Ravana took his bath and chanted the Gayatri mantra. Coming out of the water, Ravana took off his wet clothes, put on new white garments. Ravana always kept a Shivalinga with him. And now he placed the deity in the sand and began dancing in ecstasy before it, waving his arms about. Kartyavirya Arjuna was a short distance downstream, sporting with his female companions. Desiring to test the strength of his 1,000 arms, Kartyavirya Arjuna began to block the river's flow. Thus the water backed up, overflowing its banks, washing away Ravana's flowers, just as he was about to offer them in worship. At this, Ravana angrily summoned Sukha and Sarna, ordering them to find out the cause of the river's unnatural flow. Rising into the air, the ministers went downstream. Where they had gone only 4 miles, they saw Kartyavirya Arjuna playfully blocking the river's flow. When Ravana heard this, he immediately set out for battle, accompanied by all his ministers. While going along, Ravana saw numerous inauspicious omens. Still, without being deterred in the least, Ravana soon came within Kartyavirya Arjuna's vicinity. When Kartyavirya Arjuna's ministers approached him, Ravana ordered, "Announce my arrival to your king, and tell him I have come to challenge him to fight." One of the ministers replied, "It is not proper for you to challenge Kartyavirya Arjuna when he is intoxicated and in the company of women. Therefore, please, spend the night here, and in the morning you can fight. However, if you are so impatient that you cannot wait, then you will have to defeat us before approaching our master." Responding to the challenge, Ravana's ministers immediately killed and devoured Kartyavirya Arjuna's ministers. Kartyavirya Arjuna's army then rushed at the intruders, but they too were soon exterminated. The survivors then hastily went to report what happened to Kartyavirya Arjuna. Hearing this, Katyavira Arjuna got out of the water, grabbed his club, and began to drive away the Rakshasas. Prahasta daringly stood up to Katyavira Arjuna and hurled a flaming mace. The Haihaya king deftly deflected it with his own mace and then severely struck Prahasta, knocking him to the ground. Seeing Prahasta fallen, Ravana's other ministers ran away in fear. Ravana then rushed at Katyavira Arjuna and they proceeded to violently strike each other with their clubs. However, neither grew tired. Then Katyavira Arjuna hurled his club against Ravana's chest. Although the club broke into pieces, Ravana was thrown backward a bow's length and cried out as he fell to the ground in great agony. Katyavira Arjuna quickly rushed forward and after catching hold of Ravana, tied him up with strong rope. The demigods were elated to witness this heroic feat. Thus they showered Katyavira Arjuna with flowers while continuously praising him. Prahasta and the other Rakshasas then rushed forward while throwing torrents of weapons. However, Katyavira Arjuna simply caught all these weapons in his hands and drove away the Rakshasas. He then took the captive Ravana and entered Mahishmati. When Pulastya heard that his grandson was being held captive, he went to meet Katyavira Arjuna. When the ministers saw the great rishi descending from the heavens, they hurriedly informed the Haihaya king of his arrival. Katyavira Arjuna then came before Pulastya with folded hands. After providing him a royal reception, he asked, "O foremost of illustrious personalities, of what service can I be?" Pulastya replied, "Kindly release the Rakshasa king, for you have proven your power far exceeds his." Without uttering a word, Katyavira Arjuna released Ravana. The ruler of the Haihayas also gave the Rakshasa king various presents, thus forming an alliance between the two. Finally, Katyavira Arjuna bowed down before Pulastya and entered his palace, while the son of Lord Brahma, Pulastya, ascended into the sky. Although Ravana was embarrassed because of his defeat, he continued to wander over the earth, defeating countless Kshatriyas. Finally, he came to Kishkinda, ruled by Vali, who wore a golden necklace presented to him by King Indra. When Ravana expressed his desire to fight, Sushena, Angada, Sugriva, and the minister Tara replied, "Vali is not here now, but he will be returning shortly. O great Rakshasa hero, just look at this heap of bones. This is all that remains of those who challenged Vali in the past. We can assure you, you will come to a similar end. My dear king, you are very impatient. If you are very impatient, not wishing to wait, you can find Vali on the shores of the southern ocean." Ravana then mounted the Pushpaka chariot and flew to the southern sea. There he saw Vali absorbed in saying his prayers. Ravana wanted to capture the monkey king alive, and he began to creep up silently from behind. Vali, however, was able to see Ravana from the corner of his eye. Remaining undisturbed, Vali thought, "I shall capture this Rakshasa when he comes close by and keep him under my arm. Then I'll leave him dangling and complete my worship by visiting the 3 other oceans." Vali could hear Ravana's footsteps. When he drew close, Vali suddenly whirled around and caught him. And then pressing Ravana tightly under his arm, Vali sprang into the air towards his next destination. Ravana's ministers quickly came to his rescue, but they could not catch Vali. Thus Vali continued his tour of the 4 seas and finally returned to Kishkinda. Vali was exhausted from carrying Ravana such a great distance, and thus he put him down in a park. Then, laughing disdainfully at Ravana, Vali asked the dazed Rakshasa who he was. With genuine admiration, Ravana introduced himself and said, "The astonishing speed that you travel through the air is only matched by 3 other things, the mind, Vayu, and Garuda. O king of the monkeys, you truly are an exceptional hero. Therefore, I want to establish friendly relationships with you. Please accept me as your ally." Thereafter, a sacrificial fire was lit, and when their friendship was thus formalized, Ravana and Vali warmly embraced. Ravana continued to reside at Kishkinda for a month as an honored guest of the monkey chief. At this point, Rama said, "O Rishi, Ravana and Vali were certainly powerful heroes, but I feel that Hanuman's prowess exceeds both of them. Indeed, during my conquest of Lanka, it was he alone who enabled me to become victorious and recover Sita. I cannot properly express my debt to Hanuman, the best of my unalloyed servitors. O great sage, I still have some doubt that I pray you can dispel. Why is it that when there was enmity between Vali and Sugriva, that Hanuman did not vanquish Vali? I think Hanuman could not have been aware of his own prowess. Otherwise, how could he have stood by idly and watched Sugriva suffer? O foremost of rishis, you are the knower of all mysterious truths. Therefore, please explain the transcendental pastimes of Hanuman so my doubt can be removed." Hanuman was also present in the assembly, listening to the conversation, and he expressed great transcendental bliss upon hearing Rama's statement. The great sage Agastya then answered, "It is true that no one can equal Hanuman in strength, speed, or intelligence. However, it so happened that he forgot his actual prowess. I will recount the story of his life to explain why. Hanuman was begot by Vayu through Anjana, the wife of Kesari, a monkey chief, who used to reside on Mount Meru. After delivering the child, Anjana went to gather some fruit for him. In her absence, however, the hungry baby started to cry. At that time, the sun began to rise. When the baby monkey saw the luminous orange globe, he thought it was a fruit, and suddenly he sprang upwards to catch it. When the demigods saw the son of Vayu flying swiftly through the air, they became astonished, declaring, "Not even the mind or Garuda can move so fast. If this monkey shows so much ability as a baby, what will he be like when he grows up?" Vayu followed his son to protect him from the scorching heat of the sunshine. Then, as the baby monkey approached, Surya refrained from consuming him in consideration of his childish innocence and the future mission that he would be performing on behalf of Rama. Thus the son of Vayu was able to take his seat upon the chariot next to Surya. Just at that time, Rahu happened to come by to attack the sun god. Instinctively, the baby monkey grabbed Rahu, but in the next moment, Rahu, the worst of planetary controllers, slipped from his clutches. Rahu fearfully approached Indra and complained, Although I have been allotted the sun and moon as my means for appeasing my hunger, it appears my share has been appropriated to another. Just now, when I approached the sun god, I saw another Rahu was attacking him." Indra was quite astonished to hear this, and he thus mounted Airavata and set out towards the sun. Rahu had gone ahead, and when the son of Vayu saw him coming, he considered him to be a type of gigantic fruit and again sprang from Surya's chariot to catch him. Rahu immediately began to flee, crying out for Indra's protection. Thus the king of heavens, who approached from nearby, gave him assurance. Then when the hungry baby sighted Airavata, he took the elephant to be another enormous white fruit and rushed towards him. When Indra saw the son of Vayu approaching, he immediately released his thunderbolt. The baby monkey crashed down on a mountain, broke his jaw, and gave up his life. This enraged Vayu, who then took his son and withdrew into a mountain cave. Vayu ceased acting as the air of respiration, and all living entities began to suffocate. Their bowels and bladders became obstructed. With bloated bellies, the demigods hurriedly approached Lord Brahma, anxiously informing him of their plight. Lord Brahma said, "O celestials, it is due to Vayu's anger that you are now suffering. Just try to understand the importance of the wind god. Although he has no perceivable material body, he moves within the bodies of all created beings. Indeed, without the wind, a material body is no better than a block of wood. Therefore, I suggest we all approach Vayu and pacify him for the welfare of the entire world." Lord Brahma led the demigods to Vayu's cave. The wind god was tormented by the death of his son, whose body he still held in his arms. After Vayu offered his obeisances, Lord Brahma affectionately placed his hand upon the baby monkey's head and immediately brought him back to life. Upon the revival of his son, Vayu resumed circulating within all creatures. Thus living entities again became joyful. Lord Brahma then told the assembled demigods, "In the future, this child will act for your welfare. Thus all of you should award him benedictions." Hearing Lord Brahma's command, Indra took off his garland of lotus flowers and placed it around Hanuman's neck. Indra declared, "Because of his broken jaw, this child will henceforth be known as Hanuman. He need no longer fear of my thunderbolt, for he will be immune to its effects." The sun god announced, "I hereby donate 1% of my brilliance to Hanuman. Furthermore, I grant him full knowledge of the scripture and benedict him with eloquent speech." Yamaraj then said, I hereby grant Hanuman immunity from my rod of death and from all diseases." Kuvera declared, "Let Hanuman be immune to my mace and never become tired in battle." Lord Shiva said, "I grant that Hanuman will never be killed by me or one of my weapons." Vishwakarma announced, "I award Hanuman the benediction that he cannot be killed by any weapon that I have manufactured." Lastly, Lord Brahma said, "I grant Hanuman a long life, magnanimity, immunity to the Brahmastra, and immunity to the curses of the Brahmanas." Lord Brahma then said to Vayu, "This child will be able to change his form at will and shall be unconquerable. He will be able to travel wherever he likes and at any speed he chooses. In the future, he will perform glorious activities that will aid in the destruction of Ravana. Thus he will become very pleasing to Lord Rama." The demigods departed, and Vayu placed Hanuman under the care of his mother Anjana. After receiving so many benedictions, Hanuman was bursting with energy. He began acting fearlessly. Sometimes he even offended prominent rishis by interrupting their sacrifices and breaking their paraphernalia. While Hanuman indulged in these pranks, the rishis tolerated him, for they knew that he was immune to death from their curses due to Lord Brahma's benediction. Hanuman's foster father Kesari and his natural father Vayu tried their best to discipline him. Still, Hanuman continued to transgress the boundaries of propriety. Thus the rishis became a little angered at him and declared that, "For now you shall remain ignorant of your true prowess. At the proper time you will again become aware of your full potency." Thereafter Hanuman began wandering through the forest in a peaceful mood. At this time the king of monkeys, Raksharaj, succumbed to death from old age. His elder son Vali assumed the throne, while Sugriva became heir apparent. From childhood, Hanuman and Sugriva were best friends. However, when hostility broke out between the two brothers, Hanuman was not aware of his true prowess, and thus he did not help Sugriva fight Vali. Because of his ignorance of his great power, Hanuman became more interested in the cultivation of knowledge than in the exhibition of force. To learn all areas of Vedic knowledge, he would follow the sun god the full distance from when he rises to when he sets. Hanuman would put forward innumerable questions, and eventually he became as learned in the Vedas as Brihaspati. In this way, Agastya Rishi described the glories of Hanuman. Rama, Lakshmana, and the monkey chiefs were amazed and delighted to hear them. When the assembled rishis decided to go, Rama said, "Now that I have been installed as emperor, I want to perform many sacrifices for the welfare of the world. I request that you all return home so that the sacrifices may be performed under your supervision." Happily giving their consent, the rishis departed. The next morning, awakened by professional singers who recited his glories, Rama bathed and sat down to perform fire sacrifices. Do you remember Kaushalya, Supraja, Rama Purva, Sandhya, Pravartate? So that is one of those shlokas that we recite very early in the morning for Ram, and they bring that up here, saying that he is awakened by professional singers who recite his glories. So thereafter Ram visited the palace temple and proceeded to the royal court. Seated upon the royal throne and surrounded by his ministers, servants, and 20 of the monkey chiefs, Ram administered the state government in an exemplary manner. King Janaka was one of many great kings that came to Ayodhya to attend Rama's coronation. After some time, Rama approached him saying, "My dear father-in-law, you should now return to your kingdom, Vidarbha, lest it become neglected. Bharata and Shatrughna will escort you with a large army." Janaka consented, and Rama honored him with many valuable presentations. Janaka gave all the presents to his beloved daughter Sita and happily departed for home. Rama then addressed his maternal uncle, the Kekeya king Yudhajit. "Because your father is now very old, you too should return to your kingdom. Take care of him. Lakshmana will accompany you with a large army." Yudhajit gave his consent, and after his departure, Rama bid farewell to his friend, the king of Kashi. Altogether, Rama bid farewell to 300 kings and princesses that had come to Ayodhya to celebrate his coronation. After returning home, all these kings sent their escorts back with many valuable presentations for Rama. When he received all these gifts, Rama immediately gave them away to Sugriva, Vibhishana, and other monkeys and Rakshasas. One day, Rama took Hanuman and Angada upon his lap and told Sugriva, "These two great heroes deserve every possible honor." Rama then took off the ornaments from his body and decorated Hanuman and Angada with them. The other monkey heroes were also present, and so Rama sweetly said, "You are all not only my dear friends, but you are all just like my brothers." Rama embraced all the monkeys and gave them various presents. All the monkeys remained in Ayodhya for more than a month, happily spending their time feasting and relishing the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Ramachandra. However, due to their great love for Rama, the time passed so quickly it seemed like the monkeys had been there less than an hour. After the month had passed, Rama requested Sugriva to return to Kishkinda and Vibhishana to return to Lanka. At that time, Hanuman came before him and offered the following prayer. "O my Lord, may my devotion for you always remain steady, and may my love for you never be diverted towards anyone else. In addition, may my life continue for as long as the narration of your transcendental pastimes is recited upon the earth. Indeed, only by hearing the recitation of the Ramayana will I be able to mitigate the unbearable pangs of suffering from you, pangs of separation from you." Rama then got down from his throne and while embracing Hanuman declared, "Your life shall continue for as long as the Ramayana is recited. Indeed, the Ramayana will be recited for as long as the earth continues to exist. My dear Hanuman, I shall never be able to repay you for the service you have rendered unto me. I will remain eternally indebted." Rama took off the necklace of pearls and precious stones that decorated his chest and placed it around Hanuman's neck. All the monkeys then got up and one by one bowed down to Lord Ram. Thereafter Rama embraced Sugriva and Vibhishana, and the monkeys' eyes became filled with tears, their minds bewildered from ecstatic feelings of impending separation, and their speech indistinct. Finally the monkeys departed. Rama felt great separation from his servants, but he was also happy that the heroes would be reunited with their families. Later that afternoon, Rama suddenly heard a voice from the sky. Looking up, he saw the Pushpaka chariot was addressing him. The chariot told Rama, "I returned to Kuvera as you ordered, but the Lord of Wealth told me, because Rama has conquered Ravana, you now rightly belong to him. Thus I have been sent back by Kuvera to render service unto you. O Lord, please accept me without hesitation." Rama worshipped the Pushpaka chariot with flowers, incense, and sandalwood paste, and then ordered him, "If I am ever in need of your service, you can appear to me when called for. In the meantime, you are free to go wherever you please." Being so directed, the Pushpaka chariot departed to wander on its own. Some time after this incident, Bharata came one day before Rama and began to glorify his rule of the kingdom, saying, "Although little more than 1 month has passed since your coronation, there is already a complete absence of disease, untimely death, and labor pains for women. The clouds are showering rain at the proper time, and all people are in joyous state of mind." Rama felt great bliss listening to Bharata's praise, for he understood that all living entities can attain the highest fulfillment of life in a God-conscious kingdom. The winter passed, and with the arrival of spring, Rama passed much of his time with Sita in the lovely palace gardens. During the day, Rama would dutifully carry out the state administration, and in the evenings he would sit with Sita in the shade of a large Ashoka tree. Surrounding them, the Apsaras sang and danced among the flowering trees. Rama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Sita, the Goddess of Fortune, passed each day enjoying newer and newer delights. Their pleasure in each other's association expanded unlimitedly. One day Rama understood that Sita was pregnant. He expressed his great pleasure, saying, "O lovely princess, is there any desire within your heart that you feel has not yet been gratified? Please inform me. If there is, for I shall fulfill your every wish without fail." Sita replied, "O Lord, in your association all my desires have been abundantly fulfilled. However, since you are asking, I admit I have a strong desire to visit the ashram of the rishis, situated on the banks of the Ganga, and offer my obeisances to the great saints that live there." Rama assured her, "My dear Sita, please know that very soon you will have that opportunity to visit the rishis in the forest." Thereafter Rama entered the royal assembly and engaged in joking light conversation with his advisors. Rama then asked Bharata, "What do the citizens talk about these days? What do they say about Sita, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna? How do they feel about our mother, Kaikeyi, and myself?" Indeed, kings are always a topic of criticism for the people. With folded hands, Bharata replied. This is not Bharata, this is Bharata, who is his advisor. "O Lord, everyone praises your victory over the 10-headed Ravana. They acclaim you as the greatest of all heroes." Rama, however, urged, "Tell me truthfully, what do they say? Only by knowing matters as they are can one curtail his faults and thus endeavor for self-improvement. O Bharata, there is no need for you to be afraid. I have already understood that envious people are spreading rumors about me through Ayodhya. I have even personally heard some people criticize me for taking back a woman who remained so long in the house of another." Hearing this, Bharata bowed down to Rama and replied, "Whether good or bad, I do not know. However, this is what people are saying in the marketplaces and in the city streets. Rama has performed an extraordinary feat by bridging the oceans and vanquishing the powerful Ravana. However, has it occurred to him that he has brought home a woman who was abducted by the Rakshasa king and forced to sit upon his lap? Does Rama not feel disgust at enjoying a woman who remained with Ravana for almost 1 entire year? O Lord, these are the things people are speaking about you." Shocked and dismayed to hear this, Rama then asked the other ministers if what Bharata said was true. They all confirmed it was so. Rama was fully aware of Sita's complete purity and innocence, but he could not tolerate the shame of having to hear that people were mocking him in this way. Rama made up his mind to abandon his unsuspecting wife and called for Lakshmana. Rama addressed his brother with great agitation. "O Lakshmana, please listen with great attention, for what I have to say is most painful. I have just learned that some citizens of Ayodhya condemn me for taking Sita back from the kingdom of Lanka. Just see how distressed I have become. I have appeared in the royal dynasty of Ikshvaku. Thus any taint of dishonor to my name brings me more grief than the thought of death. After killing Ravana, I also considered, how can I take Sita back to Ayodhya? It was just to allay these doubts that I made the princess of Vidarbha enter the fire in the presence of all the demigods and you. And presence of all the demigods and rishis. Vayu and Agni declared that Sita was pure, and within my heart I also know that she was chaste. So I accepted her back. Now, however, rumors are spreading everywhere, and I am being blamed in my own kingdom. O Lakshmana, a person who is the target of rumors suffers great humiliation and defamation. Ill deeds are always condemned, and that is what motivates the noble-minded towards good acts. I am ready to give up my life if necessary to avoid public scandal. Indeed, I am ready to renounce you, my dear brother, for ensuring my good name and reputation. Thus, what can be said of Sita? I am drowning in an ocean of sorrow. Never before have I experienced such misfortune. Lakshmana, tomorrow at dawn you must take Sita to the banks of the Ganga and take her on a tour of the ashramas of the great rishis. Then abandon her near the hermitage of the great sage Valmiki on the banks of the river Tamasa and return to Ayodhya alone. My dear brother, you must carry out this order without any argument, for any slight hesitation on your part will bring me the greatest displeasure. Indeed, let it be known that anyone who objects to my decision immediately becomes my most bitter enemy. Just a little while ago, Sita told me she is very eager to visit all the ashramas along the banks of the Ganga. Now go and fulfill her desire. It's the saddest thing I've heard all day. Lakshmana became broken-hearted to hear Rama speak like this. However, since he was the obedient servant of his elder brother, he assented without hesitation. Then early the next morning, Lakshmana went to Sita and said, "Your husband has ordered me to fulfill your desire. I shall escort you to the banks of the Ganga so that you can worship the great rishis residing there. Sumantra is ready with the chariot, so I request you to come at once." Sita was delighted, and after putting on her finest dress and most exquisite jewelry, she told Lakshmana, "I shall distribute these and other gifts to the wives of those great sages." Lakshmana helped Sita onto the chariot, and they quickly departed. However, while going along, Sita began to speak anxiously, saying, "O Lakshmana, my left eye has suddenly begun to twitch and my mind feels strangely uneasy. Suddenly I feel very weak and the earth seems to have taken a gloomy aspect. I hope Rama is all right." Sita prayed to the demigods for the welfare of her husband and other relatives. Lakshmana then said in a voice choked with tears, "I hope you too will not meet with misfortune." By evening, Sita, Lakshmana and Sumantra reached the banks of the river Gomati and spent the night there. Early the next morning, they continued their journey. By afternoon, they had come to the banks of the Ganga. Upon dismounting their chariot, however, Lakshmana broke down and cried, for he could no longer contain his grief. Feeling great concern, Sita inquired, "O Lakshmana, what is wrong? Now that we have reached our destination, you should be happy. Indeed, your sadness makes me uneasy. Have just 2 days of separation from Rama brought you so much anguish? I love Rama dearly, yet I have not become so disturbed. Please compose yourself, for we must now cross the Ganga to have the audience of the great rishis. Thereafter, we can quickly return to Ayodhya, for I also long to see Ram." After wiping the tears from his eyes, Lakshmana arranged for a boat and escorted Sita across the Ganga. Upon reaching the other side, Lakshmana tearfully confessed, "O Princess of Vidarbha, all good Lord Rama has entrusted me with a most painful task. Indeed, by performing this duty, I shall become infamous in the eyes of the world. It would have been better if I had died rather than executed your husband's order. O noble lady, please forgive me for what I am forced to do." Lakshmana fell to the ground, weeping bitterly. With great indignation, Sita asked, "O Lakshmana, what is the matter? I cannot understand what you are saying. Please tell me clearly, what is troubling you? Has some great misfortune befallen Rama that you do not have the courage to tell me?" With his head bowed down low, Lakshmana replied in a voice choking with tears. While sitting in the royal court, Lama learned that rumors were circulating throughout Ayodhya accusing him of impropriety. Everywhere people blame Rama for accepting you back. This public censure pains him unbearably. O Sita, I know you are faultless and so does Rama. Therefore do not misunderstand the king, for he has been forced to relinquish you to maintain the good name of the Ikshvaku dynasty. O Princess of Vidarbha, do not be broken-hearted, for the abodes of the Brahmanas, for the abodes of the Brahma Rishis that are situated on the banks of the Ganga are celestially beautiful. You should take shelter of the great sage Valmiki, for he was a good friend of your father-in-law, Maharaj Dasharatha. Always think of Rama within your heart and remain unflinchingly devoted to him. In this way you will attain the highest happiness, O Janaki." Upon hearing of her cruel destiny, Sita immediately fainted. Then coming to her senses, she pitifully cried out, "Now I can see that this life was awarded to me simply for suffering. What great sin did I commit in the past? What poor girl's marriage did I obstruct to now cause Rama to cast me off? I faithfully followed my husband into exile and remained content despite innumerable hardships. O Lakshmana, how shall I be able to survive here alone? What will I tell the rishis when they ask me why I was abandoned? What wrong have I done? I would gladly end my life by throwing myself into the Ganga, but that would bring about the end of Rama's dynasty. Becoming somewhat more composed, Sita looked at Lakshmana. I know that you are merely carrying out your duty. I do not blame you. Go back to Ayodhya now and offer my respects to my mother-in-laws. Touch the feet of my husband and please deliver the following message. O Rama, you know that my devotion has always been fixed upon you without deviation. You know of my chastity and my unfailing love. Still, from fear of dishonor and shame, you have spurned me. O Rama, my lord and only refuge, you should not have done so. My dear husband, I do not grieve for my own misfortune, for I know that I am faultless. For a chaste woman, the husband is as good as God. Therefore, I must accept whatever you may order is best for my welfare, even if it means giving up my life. Lakshmana circumambulated Sita and crossed to the Ganges' opposite shore. As Lakshmana mounted his chariot, he turned his head back just to have one last glimpse of Sita. Likewise, Sita gazed sorrowfully at Lakshmana as he receded into the distance. Then, alone and unprotected, Sita fell on the ground, crying uncontrollably. The grief-stricken Lakshmana said, O Sumantra, what terrible pain Rama has to suffer now that he has abandoned his dear wife. Alas, he who wrathfully destroyed the Rakshasas appears to be himself ruled by cruel destiny. The sorrow Rama will feel shall far exceed what he experienced while living in exile under the order of his father. Sumantra replied, O prince, do not become overly aggrieved because of Sita and Rama. Long ago, your father was informed that one day Rama would have to abandon his wife and suffer the pangs of separation for the remainder of his life. O Lakshmana, I promised your father I would never disclose all this. However, since you have inquired about Rama's misfortune, I shall tell you everything. I should certainly obtain the king's order, but it appears that fate is indeed supreme, for I feel impelled to speak. However, please do not repeat any of this to Bharata or Shatrughna. Lakshmana explained, O Sumantra, please disclose everything to me. Sumantra said, O prince, once upon a time, Durvasa Muni resided at the ashram of Vashishta during the 4 months of the rainy season to execute the required penances for that season. One day, Maharaj Dasharatha came to visit Vashishta. He saw Durvasa Muni seated by the rishi's side. Thus, he respectfully worshipped both sages. In turn, the 2 rishis welcomed Maharaj Dasharatha and invited him to sit down with them. In course of their conversation, Maharaj Dasharatha asked about his own longevity along with that of his sons. Durvasa Muni told him, My dear king, once long ago, when the Daityas were hard-pressed in battle against the demigods, they took shelter of Bhrigu Muni's wife, for she had previously assured them of protection. Seeing this, Lord Vishnu became enraged, and by employing his Sudarshan Chakra, he severed the head of the ascetic woman. In retaliation, Bhrigu Muni angrily cursed Lord Vishnu to be born upon the earth as a human being and suffer the pangs of separation from his wife. After venting his anger in this way, however, Bhrigu Muni became sorry. Repenting, he began to worship Lord Vishnu. The Lord became satisfied with Bhrigu Muni, and he voluntarily agreed to accept the consequences of the rishi's curse. My dear Dasharatha, it is for this reason that Lord Vishnu has appeared as your son Ram. From Ayodhya, he will rule over the earth for 11,000 years, and 2 sons will be born unto him through the womb of his beloved wife Janaki. Sumantra then said, My dear Lakshmana, all of this was foretold by the great sage Durvasa to your father. Now you should give up your grief, knowing well that whatever takes place is in accordance with the will of the Supreme Lord. Hearing Sumantra's words, Lakshmana felt great relief, and expressed his sincere gratitude to the chief minister. Lakshmana and Sumantra passed the night on the banks of the river, and next morning they resumed their journey. Some disciples of Valmiki happened to see Sita weeping, and they ran to their master, saying, O master, come quickly. There is a woman who resembles the goddess of fortune herself. She is sitting alone in the forest, crying. By dint of his mystic power, Valmiki could understand everything. He rushed to the place where the bereaved Sita sat. The rishi humbly approached her and said, O devoted wife of Lord Ram, O daughter of King Janaka, by the strength of my austerities I know all that takes place within the 3 worlds. Thus I understand your plight. Please do not be afraid. Near my ashram there are ascetic women who will devotedly care for you, as if you were their daughter. Please come with me now and consider this to be your new home. Valmiki then took Sita and placed her under the care of the female ascetics. Meanwhile, Lakshmana arrived at Ayodhya, wondering what he would say. He entered the royal palace. Lakshmana saw Ram seated upon the throne, shedding tears and lost in deep contemplation. Seeing his elder brother's pitiful condition, Lakshmana's eyes also filled with tears. Bowing down before Rama, Lakshmana addressed him in a voice laden with great sorrow. My dear brother, in accordance with your order, I abandoned Sita on the banks of the Ganga near the ashram of the great sage Valmiki. O Rama, there is no use giving way to grief. Indeed, in this world, meeting and separation are concomitant factors. It is inevitable that one's wife, one's son, one's life must one day be given away. Therefore, intelligent persons always pass through life's journey with an attitude of detachment. My dear brother, your unlimited prowess controls the three worlds. Why then do you not suppress this despondency? Cast off this weakness, otherwise more rumors will circulate. What will people think? Rama became pacified by Lakshmana's words, and his grief gradually faded. Rama said, My dear Lakshmana, for the last 4 days I have completely neglected my royal duties. Please summon all the royal ministers, priests, and people in general with whom you do business. The king, who does not look daily at the state administration, is certainly doomed to suffer in hell. You must know the story of King Nriga. He once gave away millions of cows in charity to a Brahmana, but one of them happened to belong to another Brahmana. When they discovered this discrepancy, the Brahmanas cursed the king to become a lizard. It was ordained that King Nriga would be delivered in the distant future when Lord Ram would appear as a son of Vasudeva in the line of Yadu. Even now that great king suffers because of the Brahmana's curse. Thus it can be understood just how much misery can be incurred due to a king's injustice. Therefore let all people come to me who seek my audience. My dear brother, if you wish, I can entertain you with other interesting histories regarding the lives of great kings. Lakshmana replied, My dear Ram, the more I listen to these wonderful stories, the more I am eager to continue hearing. And in response, Rama narrated the history of King Nimi. This 12th son of Ikshvaku once asked Vashishta to officiate at his sacrifice. However, because Vashishta was already engaged in performing a sacrifice on behalf of Indra, he requested Maharaj Nimi to wait. But instead of waiting, Maharaj Nimi approached Gautama as his sacrificial priest. When Vashishta learnt of this, he came to the king and cursed him to die. In retaliation, Maharaj Nimi cursed Vashishta to die, and therefore they were both forced to relinquish their material bodies. Vashishta then approached Lord Brahma, who advised him to enter the semen that was about to be discharged by Mitra and Varuna. Vashishta quickly went to the shore of the ocean where Mitra and Varuna were residing. Just at that time, the beautiful Apsara Urvashi came by. Becoming overwhelmed by lust, Varuna pleaded with Urvashi to accept him. But Urvashi replied that Mitra was the first to beg union with her. At this, Varuna declared, O beautiful one, if you do not accept my embraces at once, I shall discharge my semen into the celestial pitcher. Being pleased by this statement of ardent love, Urvashi replied, My dear Varuna, although my body belongs to Mitra, my heart belongs to you. Mitra became extremely irritated at Urvashi's words and cursed the Apsara to pass some time on earth. Mitra was first to discharge his semen into the celestial pitcher. As a result, the great sage Agastya rose from the vessel and said, O Mitra, I am your only begotten son. Saying this, Agastya went away. Then, after Varuna discharged his semen into the pitcher, it mixed with the semen of Mitra, and thus from this mixture, Vashishta was born. Meanwhile, after the death of Maharaj Nimi, the priests continued the sacrifice after preserving his body in oil. At the completion of the sacrifice, Bhrigu utilized his mystic powers to invoke the soul of King Nimi. The demigods were very pleased with this act, and when they offered him a benediction, Maharaj Nimi requested, O celestials, may I always reside in the eyes of all creatures. The demigods gave their consent, saying, O king, you shall visit every eye in the form of air. Because of this, all creatures will be seen to blink periodically. The demigods parted, and thereafter the priests began to churn the body of King Nimi. Thus Mithi was born. Since he was born from a dead body, he was known as Videha as well as Janaka. After narrating this story, Rama hastened to the royal assembly, eager to attend the duties of state administration. Then Rama ordered Lakshmana, Go to the palace gate and bring me all those who have come with their petitions. Lakshmana soon returned, saying, O Lord, it appears that there is no one in Koshala kingdom who is in need of anything. Rama, however, insisted, Go again and look more carefully. I do not wish to be accused of the slightest neglect, nor do I want the least bit of irreligion to go undetected in my kingdom. Where do I continue? I am on 540 and we end on 569. I'm done then. You want me to finish? Is someone coming to fill Shraddha Mataji's spot? Kamishi will come? Okay. Yeah, then we can go ahead to Arati. So I will stop at this point where they are waiting to find somebody worthy of asking for help. And we will continue this from 1 o'clock. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Off.